Welcome into this impromptu edition of Hand Raise Guys. Chase Parham, Neil McCready coming to you from the Clark Ford studio. A little bit of housekeeping. As you're well aware, Matt Luke out as Ole Miss head coach. Neil has a column written that will be published as soon as the site allows it to publish. We are working on a hot board right now as well. We'll be here with you for a while. We also will have this in podcast form tomorrow. Look, we're going to be up late, so this will be tomorrow's podcast. It will probably be in multiple parts, so we'll have some ad breaks probably as we come up through the show a little bit tonight. We'll be here with you for a little while, but either way, this is to tomorrow's podcast as we get going. And I don't know, this first few minutes is probably going to be pretty scatterbrained. We figured out all the things that are going on, but nonetheless, Matt Luke out as head coach. Crazy surprise from a couple weeks ago for sure. Started tea leaves turning a little bit, and then jump into the chat, just have at it. Let's all talk and we'll carry on as we go. But anyway, started to turn, and I was talking to somebody this morning who would know, and they said 20% fired, 80% retained at that point. I was actually getting out of my car to go into church because I just talked to you.
Let's even back up a little.
Yeah,
because
sure.
people like TikTok on these things, and we'll be short. So yesterday, it's one of my device. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, I did not tweet the link out. I need to do that. So talk, and I'll.
Okay, and I think my device has volume on it. I'm trying to figure it out.
Oh, you have volume on yours, huh?
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, it's been a weird few minutes because our admin with Rivals.com is down. Greg Ladke, John Tallman, our bosses, they're both on it. They're working on it. So it's all good. We'll have it up in a minute. We've been in a little bit of a scramble. Yeah, tweet that out, and then I'll retweet it. And
it's being tweeted right now.
We'll make sure everybody sees it.
It's there. Yeah, just hang with us, guys. It's going to be a minute.
So I guess it's midday yesterday. There were some rumblings. I really didn't buy it all that much because they didn't have much substance to it. I made a phone call. Actually, I sent out a text yesterday to someone who I can't name, and the response came back so fast that I thought, uh-oh. And I remember telling you that was alarming. And so I went to bed last night thinking, maybe. You're going to save me a little of that, huh? Just so I can have a little
you got
taste.
it.
I got some more in there. We'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, do us a favor if you're watching this. Share it on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, and subscribe.
We'd really appreciate that. Subscribe, hit the
subscribe
bell
button
for videos, do all that stuff.
So, got up this morning, was on the phone pretty early, talked to you, heard the 80-20 thing, and really kind of over the course of the day, thought it wasn't going anywhere today. And about 4-ish, 5-ish, that changed a little. And your person gave you a different number, and I went right away. As soon as you told me 50-50, I went, oh, shit.
Yeah, it was somebody who typically would know. Again, the site's having a couple of issues. If you're dealing with that, just hang. It will be fixed, hopefully, momentarily. So, yeah, it went from 20 to 50 sometime this afternoon. And, yeah, immediately Neil went, yeah, that's it. It's over.
I said it was over.
You thought it was done at that point.
Well, I turned 50 next month. I'm old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm older than I want to be. I'm older than I think I am. And this is probably the one thing I'm best at, coaching searches, coaching firings, coaching hirings. I don't say that in a bragging way. I just, And as the day went on, the feel changed. And when no one shot it down, I said, "Oh, okay, this is probably happening." And then but it was funny. I was talking to some people in different agents, multiple agents, and they'd heard nothing. And then it just moved quick. Yeah, it's a beer. I haven't eaten really anything all day, and I'm a little afraid, quite frankly, to pour bourbon straight into my gut.
I was at dinner when this thing basically was breaking. I had to get out of there, and then head. So that was kind of my night. Yeah, I was walking into church when it first popped this morning that it was even 20%. Then it kind of went throughout the day, going a little more, and then this afternoon it went to 50, and then after that, the same person goes, "Hey, well above 50 money, really, really talking right now." Because let's just be honest, boosters got involved. High level boosters with a lot of capital, a lot of coin got involved, and that swung this thing.
Looking back on it, that was the first big clue. I got a call from somebody who said, "Hey, who is?" And people are asking, what led to the decision? No, and listen, we're not going to name sources. It's not what we do. That's not what we do. We have one of the best things about our partnership, and it always has been, is that Chase is really well connected with Ole Miss people, and I'm okay connected with Ole Miss people, but I'll give myself this: I'm pretty connected outside of Ole Miss. I have a lot of national and regional sources that I can rely on in situations like this, and we sort of multi-sourced it. And then about 6 o'clock, I guess, right before I tweeted it, I can't go further. I talked to a source who absolutely confirmed that Matt had been fired, had been pulled from the road, was on his way home. I think, in fact, had just gotten home.
He was with a recruit when it happened.
He was with a recruit when it happened, yeah. In Birmingham, I think.
Yeah.
And so I went with it. We didn't even – I never even sought an official confirmation because there was no point. So, yeah, that's where we are. First of all, I want to say this, and I know, Chase, you probably want to say the same thing. We covered Matt Luke for 3 years.
Dericky Wright was who he was with.
He was with Dericky, okay.
Yeah.
We covered Matt Luke for 3 years, and I can't say this about every person that I've covered at Ole Miss. I can say this about Matt. He was never anything but completely fair. He was always professional with us, even when he didn't like something we wrote, even when he was irritated with us, especially back in 2017 in that incredibly awkward interim season. He was always a consummate pro as dealing with media, and I can't speak for anyone else, but I'll speak for me. I appreciate it. I appreciated his staff, even those on his staff who probably didn't like me very much. And I wish Matt nothing but the very best. I have a lot of feelings. As soon as the column comes up, you'll read it. I have a lot of thoughts about why this happened, why this probably never should have happened. This, in many ways, Matt never really had a chance. I don't mean that in a feel sorry for him way at all, because ultimately he got a chance and it didn't work out. He didn't win enough, and his teams didn't look right. And Thursday night, and we'll get to Thursday night in a minute, but had people left well enough alone in November of 2017, this is my opinion, what I'm about to say, Matt Luke today would be the head football coach at South Alabama. He would be able to learn on the job at a place where there's maybe one or two media outlets who cover you, where there is no real pressure, where he could have recruited down there. He could have assembled a different sort of staff that he would have been able to work with. And I think he would have been able to develop potentially as a head coach. Instead, he got this job at Ole Miss out of the blue. He wasn't prepared for it. He wasn't ready for it. It's a booger bear of a job. Throw in NCAA sanctions. Throw in all of the train wreck that was left from the Hugh Freeze debacle there at the end. I know Freeze had 4 great seasons. He had one really bad one at the end, and the program was falling apart. And Matt had to kind of put all that together, and he just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, like Ed Orgeron, Matt Luke just took a job. He took his dream job.
Yeah.
He held them together in an interim year. And here's what he's going to do. As long as the transfer portal doesn't get crazy, and that'll be something that just evolves, there's no way to answer that question right now. Some of that will depend on the new hire and all kind of stuff. He did at least stabilize the program. It's in a better place today, barring transfer portal stuff, than it was the day he took over. So that is the positive as you move forward with this thing.
Yeah. There's 2 things there. One is the transfer portal.
Players are always pissed when somebody's fired. Always.
Yeah, that's
always. So don't worry about that. That is what it is. I'm reading from the chat as we're talking.
Sure.
So
the players liked Matt Luke. He was a players coach. He was popular with players. He was fair to players. He was good to players, and they respected him and they liked him. They're going to be upset. That's That happens everywhere. The Missouri players are pissed off about Barry Odom getting fired. There were players at Arkansas that were pissed off about Chad Morris getting fired. It happens. That's the way it works. You can't make these decisions based on players.
Yeah, somebody, let's see, Nick Suss is outside the Manning Centers. We're doing this right now at 8:33 at night. The team had a team meeting at 8 o'clock. Nick, 14 minutes ago, says at least 10 Ole Miss players have stormed out of the team meeting angry so far. Players really, really unhappy.
Sure.
Of course, yeah. Just, yeah. Look, and I saw this in the live chat a little bit. Again, we're going to continue to talk about this for a while. The money wasn't there. From a foundation standpoint, the money was not there. This is an effort that has happened pretty much today, to be honest, where the money was found through. I'm not ready to use names, may not ever, but I'm not definitely not tonight. At least one booster footing a pretty good chunk, and then some others putting in a well. This is something that's happened today. We're going to talk about Thursday. Also, I will say this. Keith Carter Q rating went really up today. This was from a strictly fan base standpoint of believing in administration and believing in a hire. This was seriously one hell of a day for Keith Carter and a pretty good day for Glenn Boyce. That it got happened. I think it was a better day for Keith than Glenn because Keith's going to get credit for this one. But Boyce did what Vitter wouldn't do: stay out of it, let the choice be made. At least when the money was there, go in with it. I think today's huge with Keith because here's the thing too. Keith made a good decision. Keith also listened to people that, frankly, he's probably been dealing with for years as the head of the foundation. You know what I mean? Good relationships already with the people that kind of pressed this thing today. And then, two, Keith now, in some ways, just talking, can kind of take a free shot a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
He gets a hire here where he can kind of go for the clouds because if this thing doesn't work, and I know people won't hear that, they obviously want it to work, but if not, he's going to get another one. This isn't going to be Keith Carter's only football coach he hires unless this thing goes really well and some dude stays forever.
Unless he makes some goofy-ass conservative hire that's boring as sin.
That's what I'm saying. If you go out on a limb, no matter what, you're going to get another one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work in a lot of ways, I mean, nobody's blaming anybody, but in a lot of ways, kind of whatever.
Now's the time to swing for the fences.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We'll talk about that a little bit. Before we get to that, let me say this. The other thing that happened was Thursday night.
Of course.
The plan going into Thursday was to give Matt Luke 2020 basically so that Keith Carter, correct me if I'm wrong, could have a year to put together a coaching idea, what he wanted to do, put a plan in place that I'm sure he was hoping he wouldn't have to use, that they would win a bunch of games and he could scrap that and Matt Luke could be the hometown hero and all that stuff. But when Thursday night happened the way that it did with Elijah Moore lifting his leg and the P thing and Ole Miss really embarrassing itself, Ole Miss has tried to take has kind of claimed the high ground in this Mississippi State thing, and they lost it on Thursday night in very public fashion. Mm-hmm. Not only did they lose the egg, they lost the high ground. They lost the ability to go, hey, we're above this. No, you're not. And a couple things happened. It's funny. We did Thanksgiving on Friday, and my brother asked about this on Friday, and I kind of dismissed it, and turns out he was on to something. Were you surprised, he said, that Elijah Moore was in on the next play? And I was like, I don't know. It was 4 seconds. It was the kickoff. I mean,
because all that happened there was Matt Luke goes, hey, onsides team, go in there. Elijah Moore's on the onsides team, and he goes on the field. That's what happened. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened. And the other thing, and I didn't realize this at the time, but it was in Pete Thamel's column that got a lot of play. And I think there's something there. We'll get to it another day. I don't think we can get there right now because I don't know enough. Carrying around that belt in the wake of that play, carrying around that belt, the NWO wrestling belt thing, was tone deaf as hell. And it really upset people. And it showed them, fairly or not, it presented a picture that Matt Luke wasn't in charge of his program. That he couldn't discipline his own program.
So you got that from a standpoint of Elijah Moore does that. You got the belt, whatever. So you got all these optics about what's going on there from that. And then on the field, a lot of Ole Miss people go, And hang on, if that penalty hadn't happened, you were going to kick the extra point? You're going to go to overtime? You're not just going to go for 2 and try to win this thing right now? You've got a backup quarterback in the game, or whoever's in the game at quarterback at that point. You got a couple banged up running backs. You've got a defense that's been on the field. We're gonna play for overtime at 4 and 7. Why?
Talk to a national person, very well connected in national coaching circles, who said 2 things. He said, 1, why wouldn't you go for 2 there? Why wouldn't you at least say, hey, yeah, we were going to go for 2? Because why wouldn't you go for 2 there? You're 4 and 7 at that moment. You're not going to a bowl game. And does it really matter? Did it really matter? No. You tied it up. You got within 1. Go for it. 1 play against Mississippi State. Take it or leave it. If you don't get it, hey, you went for it. And if you get it, it's this big momentum moment. Momentum moment. You knock them out of the bowl picture. You don't go to 1, but you go home with the egg and all that stuff.
Well, I mean, the last time this happened, Ole Miss did it in 97.
And the other
Stuart Patridge, Corey Peterson, that was a momentum moment. They get to, even though there's no bowl game this time, they got to the Motor City Bowl. They were better in 98, and here you go, and on and on and on and on and on.
And the other thing he said was they need to take that belt and set it on fire. It's stupid. And in that moment, that belt and all that stuff, it just...
Thank you, Michael Henry, by the way.
It was just a bad look. And that's the lead to my column if it ever gets to run, is it was just a bad look.
Yeah, the admin will be back at some point. Neil is not yet. He is drinking a Guinness. We are drinking 10-year-old Rip Van Winkle tonight, courtesy of Independence Bowl mainstay for that one, so shout out to him. But, look. Thursday night amplified everything that was a problem with this program. It did it on national television. It did it in a lot of different ways. Here's what it also did too. It got some money people involved that that aren't even necessarily sports people. You know what I mean? You've got some people that give to academics that are more about just the university as a whole, the image as a whole, and you had some donors and some boosters that typically aren't hugely involved in athletics that go, okay, what do we got to do here because enough's enough? They were embarrassed by Thursday for the university, for Ole Miss in general, and I think that did a lot as well. So it's an interesting deal there. Elijah Moore
impacted 2 programs.
Elijah Moore and Luke Logan, and look, thoughts with Luke. I can't imagine what that was like, but. Because Elijah did something voluntarily. Luke missed the kick. It kept Joe Moorhead likely in Starkville and removed Matt Luke from Oxford. I mean, from a standpoint of 1 penalty, fairly amazing. Really, really is. I mean, I guess it was known. I didn't really think about it, but that's exactly what happened as this thing went. So. You got something?
No, I was looking to see if something was happening, but it's not yet.
Yes, the money was raised for the buyout today. I don't know exactly. I don't have details on exactly how much was raised, but I know a significant amount that helps with Matt. And then, look, the assistants have the situation where when they get hired, it'll be an offset clause there, so you don't have to pay those out all the way. However, I know that there is a sum that can be paid for the remainder of the year and how long it would be there potentially to have to buy those guys out. So yeah, look, a substantial amount of money came today. Thank you, Greg.
The other thing that happened, Chase, is the coaching carousel was starting to really turn.
You had to get moving. If you were doing it, you couldn't wait another day because I don't know where they are in this process, but you got 2 guys in the SEC that are 2 teams in the SEC somewhat similar to your program also making changes and are way ahead of you at this moment between Missouri and Arkansas.
Well, yeah, Arkansas got started, November the 10th?
Yeah, weeks ago.
10th-ish, I guess. So they're 3 weeks in, and, it's my understanding they're pretty far down the road with Lane Kiffin. Missouri got – They played Arkansas on Friday. They fired Odom on Saturday morning, and they're rolling. If you're Ole Miss, yeah, you're right. You can't just wait. You couldn't go into Tuesday or Wednesday, and they had 20 to 25 official visitors coming in this weekend. Now, if you're Keith Carter,
sorry, I'm laughing.
Do I even want to know?
No, it's fine.
Now, if you're Keith Carter, you got to get it right. You got to get it right. You can't kowtow to a certain booster or two. You got to get it right.
Let's not do this too. Everybody talks about, hey, it's this many million. And look, it was that many million. And you and I had a conversation this morning around 8 o'clock on the phone that said, look, it's not monopoly money. You've got to have it.
It's real money.
It can't be pledges. You got to have the money in the hand. And you got to do whatever this is.
But
well, I got a point.
Okay.
Though. So my point though is it's a net though. That's the gross.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Is when you hire somebody. Oh, really? Thank you. When you hire somebody, as long as you make the right hire, a decent hire, whatever, you're going to start adding season tickets again. You're going to move it up. So whatever that gross number is, I mean, Ole Miss, those budget reports showed up on our site this week. And for last year, they made $19 million off season ticket sales, I think was the number it was. And this last time was $13 million, something like that. Or the projected was $13 million or whatever. It was a $6 million loss.
Drop.
Well, if you just get back up to the other $6 million, if you just get back up to the other $6 million, that's half of what we're talking about almost. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what's amazing. I mean, yeah, just hire the right guy, and suddenly, here you go.
So what you and I talked about this morning was you couldn't just blindly look at it and go, hey, it's $17 million, we don't have it. I said, well, it's really more like $11 million. And you're like, what do you mean? And I said, well, because you're going to lose $6 million if you don't do something.
Mm-hmm.
And if the season doesn't go well. And again, you kept talking to people about the schedule. Baylor, Auburn, LSU, Alabama, Florida, 5 teams that have finished their regular season with a combined record of 52-8, and most of the 8 is beating up on each other. It's not realistic that this team was going to go wax 3 of those guys. And if that happened, what were your crowds going to be like for Connecticut, for Georgia Southern, for Mississippi State? Those are not exactly giant revenue draws. You know what I mean? And if that happened and you just lost tons of money, what do? You had to make a move. It became obvious that, and once you told me today 50%,
that was your key.
And that was probably conservative because I knew who you were talking to. I said, it's over. I should have called you and said, do not go to dinner. Start working on a hot board right now. But I didn't know.
No, we didn't know. I mean, look, Matt was on the road. We didn't know that it wouldn't hold until tomorrow potentially. I mean, now look, it did hold pretty good. I mean, you had to kind of know somebody to get this thing popped tonight. It didn't break. Yeah. It didn't break loose by any stretch of the imagination.
I had to have a couple of.
You had to kind of press a little and whatever.
I pressed hard.
Yeah, I was at St. Leo.
I didn't even call you to tell you I'm tweeting it. I just tweeted
you didn't.
it.
Yeah, I was at St. Leo.
I bet you had an oh shit moment.
I'd ordered a cocktail. I had an appetizer, and my entree had been sat down in front of me at that moment. And then
I don't know what to tell you.
I walked out. I talked to Neil. I talked to somebody else. Came back in, and it was kind of. I mean, it's Sunday night in December. There wasn't a ton of people in there, so I actually took a couple calls just sitting there. I'm like, nobody can really hear me.
Yeah, because I called you.
Yeah. It was like, all right, and it was like, okay, we probably ought to get going. Probably ought to get this thing going a little bit. So, yeah. Anyway, what else we got?
Let's pay some bills.
Okay,
and then we'll talk about some names.
Again, this is gonna be the podcast tomorrow, guys. So just hang in with us while we do a little bill paying, and then we'll go to the calls in a few minutes. Let's see.
I can get started. We're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. GrenadaNissanUSA.com. I'm coming to you. Clayton Chase is in here too from the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for our good friend Corey Clark. Take care of him because he takes care of us. If you're in the market for a Ford vehicle, you're in the market for any vehicle, at least get a quote from Corey, 662-257-1900. If you need a gift idea for your kids this holiday season, the Oxford Park Commission recommends signing up for the 2020 spring soccer season. If you played in the fall, you can rejoin your team for $25. The cost for new registrations, $50. Leagues are open ages 5 to 15. The deadline to sign up is December the 22nd. For more information, go to oxfordparkcommission.com. We're also brought to you by Splinter Creek. It's a gated conservation community 8 miles southwest of Oxford, 75 minutes from the Memphis airport. SplinterCreekMS.com. You can schedule a tour with Tom Smith Land and Home agents, 601-898-2772. If you're thinking about retiring to Oxford, relocating to Oxford, whatever the case may be, you really ought to look at Splinter Creek. It's beautiful. 34 lakefront lots, 650 acres of lakes, pine and hardwood forest, private roads, running, cycling, and hiking trails, and so much more. Again, SplinterCreekMS.com or 601-898-2772.
Podcast is brought to you by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting that understands your market, a leader in condo financing in Oxford, as well as the float down option. And with rates as low as they've been in about 2 years, good time to talk to Jason, 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com. And so also with Tyson Drugs on South Lamar in Oxford. Go get the flu shot if you haven't done that so far. It's a $0 copay on most insurance plans. Don't have to wait in line for overworked pharmacists at chain drugstores. Stop by one of the locally owned pharmacies where they have multiple pharmacists available to take care of you. It's Tyson Drugs on South Lamar, or sorry, on the Square in Holly Springs, or GNM, located off South Lamar in Oxford. Again, 662-236-2222. So you want to open up the lines now? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, we can open up lines. I'll talk about some names a little bit. Listen,
Sure.
As we get going on this, a coach search that I think is going to last at least a week, wouldn't you guess?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good guess. I'll take your word for it. I mean, I don't think they're hiring somebody tomorrow. By the way, press conference is tomorrow, so we'll have whatever is from that tomorrow as well. Just kind of curious here. People in the live chat, we got 1,400 as of right now.
I need to retweet
If you haven't, if you were thinking about not renewing your season tickets, are you back in now? Are you waiting on the next guy? Kind of tell me what you're doing season ticket wise, attending game wise. I'm just kind of wanting to get to a little bit of a deal here as we look at this. Yeah, I think it's a huge day for Keith Carter. I think it's a really, really positive day for him.
Oh, yeah. And in many ways, it was a day that after a while they had no choice as the day went on.
A lot of back ends. That's what I'm saying. It's, from a net standpoint, this was an easy decision if you're strictly looking at money. From just a money standpoint, this was a no-brainer. As long as you could find the money to take care of it. I mean, you kind of had to have money to make money a little bit, but it's there. Let's see. Okay. And again, there's so many people online that with all the calls coming in, guys, just you're going to have to give me a minute, and it's going to kind of be what it is. Caller, who we got?
Hey guys, this is Bubba. How y'all doing?
I'm doing well.
How does Bubba always get in first? I'm impressed.
He's very quick on the trigger. I think he had to already know the number too. But it was the very first one that popped in today. What's your secret?
Well, things are good in Walnut, Mississippi, I guess. I got you. I got y'all saved in my phone.
The internet's just a little quicker in Walnut, huh?
Well, I guess so.
So
I tell you what, that egg bowl, man, that crushed me like a big woman sitting on my lap. I tell you what, I haven't been this happy since. Well, I'm happier than a tornado in a trailer park today. I ain't lying to y'all.
So you're excited about the news?
I am. I give out Elijah a big hug. I mean, he did us a favor. I mean, I know y'all agree with that. So, but real quick thing, y'all think Coach Mack or Rich Rod will be considered for new head coach?
I don't.
I do not. No, I think this is going to be a clean break. I know that's been scary words before with some different things, but I do. I think this is a clean break for Ole Miss at this point. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we've definitely got to move forward. I tell you what, old Dr. Boyce, he can save him a lot of money and go get that head coach at Holmes.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's move on. Thanks, Bubba, for the call. All right, so he mentions names. I don't think it's anyone on the staff. I really don't. I think they're going to clean cut. I think they're going to start over. Otherwise, they wouldn't have raised this kind of money. I think you're going to hear some of the names that we've talked about for a while. I think Mike Norvell's name's going to come up, the Memphis coach. I know people talk about what's in his background. I don't know. Florida State, according to multiple people around the country, is way down the road with him. I don't know whether it's too late for Ole Miss. I talked to two people in the last 24 hours. One said he did not think Norvell would consider the job. Another said he thought Norvell would take the job.
Oh, really?
So I don't know. Lane Kiffin is obviously –
okay, look, you know something. Let's do this.
Okay.
You know some of kind of the deal here. Would Keith be freaked out by what's up with Norvell? Let's go that direction with this.
I think if Norvell were kind of upfront about it and they were able to have a conversation about it and talk about what their plan of action would be if he were hired, and maybe the time has passed enough to where you can do this. And Norvell's a winner, man. Now, here's the problem with Norvell, according to someone who knows him well. And, guys, I can't name names. I just have to be careful here. Mike Norvell's pretty happy at Memphis. He's, quote, not in a hurry at Memphis. He's making 2.7. He's a win away from the Cotton Bowl. He doesn't have to bolt. He can be selective and shop around. Now, can he win like this at Memphis consistently? I don't know. I kind of doubt it. But he's got time. And from a financially set situation, he's got a lot of time. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
The other name that you're going to hear a lot is Lane Kiffin at Florida Atlantic. I know there's a lot of stuff about him. And your question about Lane with Keith is
you mean with Norvell would go the other way too?
Yeah. You know, you'd have to ask that of Keith Carter. Are you comfortable with that? Here's what Lane Kiffin brings you. It's the reason Arkansas is way down the road. It's the reason Missouri wants to get very active with Lane Kiffin as early as it can, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Lane Kiffin is a big name. Lane Kiffin makes you nationally relevant as in terms of media and recruits quickly. He's a very good offensive mind. Yes, he has some baggage. Yes, there's some risk involved. But Lane Kiffin sells tickets. Lane Kiffin fills a stadium. Lane Kiffin gets people talking. Lane Kiffin, I hate the word sexy as it pertains to this, but his hire would be national news. National people would come and they do big stories on Lane Kiffin. You would get a lot of pub if he handled it right. Now, I have a question as pertains to Lane.
Okay.
Could he bring his brother Chris with him, who was named in the NCAA letter at Ole Miss? The statute of limitations is passed and all that stuff, but would Ole Miss be cool with that? And I don't know the answer.
I highly doubt that would be a complete deal breaker. Is that fair?
Yeah, I don't think that Ole Miss would say, hey, we're not going to do it if you bring your brother.
I mean, that I can't believe that would be.
Now, can Ole Miss get him? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you're going to hear Graham Harrell's name. I think you're going to hear Healy's name at Charlotte. Brian Harson's name. I don't know that Harson's a big enough deal. I'm with you on this. If I'm Keith Carter, I don't get obsessed about this initial signing period and go, oh, I got to hurry. I get this right, and I swing for some fences.
Yeah. Who are we talking to, caller?
Oh, this is Greg from Ohio. I called a couple days ago.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
calling again.
Little different mood tonight than Thursday?
A little bit. I'm dumbfounded. Truthfully, it's crazy to go from no, he's our guy to no, he's not. In about 3 days is crazy, and $17 million was able to be found somewhere. It's hyperbolic to say it, but the possibility of how much football affects Oxford as a whole, I know it might sound bad, but it might be a good thing in the long run for everyone. It sucks because Matt Luke is a good guy, really good coach, loved by the players, as a lot of us have been seeing on the message boards with players exiting angrily. I'm not going to say who. That's not my place. But it sucks. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off of a fresh wound. But I think for the long run, it might be the best decision because we saw how he coached. Wasn't that good, truthfully. But he was beloved by the players, beloved by recruits, even though he didn't win some of those recruiting battles. I think this might be a step in the right direction because he saved a sinking ship. There's no getting past that, he did save a sinking ship, but the ship still took a lot of water. It didn't sink like Arkansas did, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, that's the appreciate the call. Let's go talk about a couple of things there. Yeah, I mean, really, that's the truth in a couple different ways, Neil. As this does allow Ole Miss to start over before you hit that Arkansas level, where you have the just embarrassing season, where you completely get apathetic. You didn't let the fan base get away from you so much that you might not get them back. If you make the right hire, they're coming back. You're fine.
It was a scenario I painted you yesterday where I said, so what happens, those 5 games that we just talked about, 5 really good teams. Let's say you lose all 5 of those games. You beat Southeast Missouri, and you lose to Vanderbilt in Nashville. And before everybody goes, oh, you're not losing to Vanderbilt. Yeah, people do it all the time. It marked the beginning of the end for Barry Odom this year. If you lose to Vanderbilt, you're 1-6, and you come home to play, I don't know who it is, Georgia Southern, Connecticut, somebody, and there's like 12,000 people in the damn stadium. It's chaos. It was the reason that when Arkansas, what's his name, Hunter Yurachek?
Yurachek, yeah.
When Hunter Yurachek saw that crowd at that Western Kentucky game, it was over. I think if he could have fired Chad Morris in the first quarter, he would have.
The other thing, too, that he did make a good point a second ago, is that, and it's because of football in a lot of ways, businesses in Oxford hurting. A lot of places on the square struggling from a sales standpoint. I mean, this town is run in a lot of ways by Ole Miss and its athletic programs.
Cavett Otis makes a really good – he's obviously biased, I'm assuming. He says Ole Miss better than Missouri, which is better than Arkansas. It's funny. Take Missouri out of it for a minute. I asked a national source last night. I said, hey, if Ole Miss, Arkansas, Mississippi State are all open at the same time, what's the best job? And he was like, it's funny. If you talk to people in the coaching fraternity, they'll tell you right now it's Ole Miss because of some of the young talent that's been brought in. But it was but if you let the program get away, all of those 3 places, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Arkansas, are really difficult to rebuild. And so you don't want to let
quicker you can catch them.
You don't want to let the damn thing crater where you can't rebuild it. That's Arkansas's challenge now. People say Arkansas's a terrible job. It's a terrible job right now because there just aren't many players there. People have won there before. They have great facilities. There's a lot of money, all that stuff. But you have to wonder, even though they cut it after 2 years, by making the bad hire, did they let it crater to the point that they can't fix it? And that's why this moment now is a big day for Keith Carter today, but now he's got to get the hire right.
Clay Travis on Twitter a second ago, or 58 minutes ago, he puts up the 3 SC jobs are open, which is the best job. Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Missouri. There's 30,000 votes on this. A good many of Clay's followers are from SEC country, obviously. Ole Miss, the leader at 54% on best job. Missouri, second at 26%. Arkansas, third at 19%. So Ole Miss winning that little quick poll there from Clay with 30,000 votes. Ole Miss at 54%. So, 16, 17,000.
I think it's the best
there.
of the 3 jobs.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I do. I think it's the best of the 3 jobs. The one thing Missouri has going for it that Ole Miss and Arkansas don't, of course, is by being so far in the East. They're in the SEC East. I think if you're rebuilding, you'd rather rebuild in the SEC East today than you would the SEC West. But, both divisions are tough. It's a tough league. You can get it done at Ole Miss. People have done it. David Cutcliffe won at Ole Miss. Houston Nutt won at Ole Miss. Hugh Freeze won at Ole Miss. You can win at Ole Miss. Tommy Tuberville was on his way to winning at Ole Miss. You can win at Ole Miss. Your margin for error is not as high as it is obviously at Alabama, at Auburn, at LSU, but or Texas A&M. But you can win at Ole Miss.
Who are we talking to?
Hey, y'all. This is Allie. My mom and I called in.
Hey, Allie. Yeah,
hey,
absolutely.
What's up?
Neil remembers.
How are y'all?
We're hanging in.
We're around.
So I was just wondering, y'all talked about potential candidates, but I was wondering, do you think Harsin is a legitimate candidate?
Yeah, I think he is. He wants to coach at a Power 5 school. Ole Miss is obviously that.
I think he would have been the guy potentially had a different AD been hired.
Yeah, I'll say. I think if John Hartwell had gotten the AD job, I think he might very well have been the guy. I think he'd like to leave Boise, and I've heard some rumblings that maybe Boise wouldn't mind him leaving because he just, he wants to get paid a way that they can't pay, and he wants to do things that perhaps they can't do. Yeah, so I think I think Harson's a candidate if he wants to be. I think he's a candidate in Missouri right now for sure. I haven't heard his name at Arkansas, but that doesn't mean that he's not on Hunter Yurichek's radar. The fact that he's being mentioned at Missouri the way that he is tells me that he wants to coach in the SEC. Would he do anything for you?
Yeah, I think he'd be a great coach. Do y'all think that we would seriously look into him?
Yeah, I don't see why not. He's won at Boise. Here's the question with Brian Harsin, and this isn't meant as a negative. All he's done, and I mean that in quotes, all he's done is keep up what Boise had already built. Can he build a program? And frankly, it's the question on Mike Norvell. Mike Norvell took over a program that Justin Fuente had built at Memphis, and he's taken it to another level. But Justin Fuente is the one that built the program. And he's another guy now. If I'm Ole Miss,
Fuente would like to get out of Blacksburg. It's sitting there. He is sitting there.
He's sitting there, and I know that Arkansas has talked to Fuente. I suspect Missouri will talk to Fuente. I suspect some of the other schools that are opening up today, tomorrow, are going to talk to Fuente. And if I'm Ole Miss, I'm at least making that call. Here's a guy that's won at Memphis. He's winning.
Say he's been in the Mid-South.
Yeah.
He knows the area. That seems like it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Beham Reb makes a good point. If you're Arkansas and Missouri, you're a little pissed right now because the price went up. And
yeah.
If you're Mike Norvell,
Because you're at least potentially swimming in the same pool.
You probably are. If you're Lane Kiffin, you're kind of going, yep. Numbers just went up. And here's the thing, man. You raised whatever it was today, however many million. You can't go cheap now.
Oh, no. Again, here's what Ole Miss did today. We're going to go back to calls. This is going to be a long show. We're here. I told you weeks ago, I mean, you agreed, but I'm the one that kind of went on the little mini rant about it. A lot of Ole Miss fans simply want Ole Miss to act like an SEC program. Do the things, hire the people that other SEC schools would hire. They did that today. Boosters stepped up.
Yeah.
They found the money. They said, no, damn it, it's not good enough. We're going to do better.
Yeah.
They found the money after an embarrassing Thursday night, and now you got to complete it. Now you got to do the other half of it, which is hire a guy that other SEC schools would hire, go pay, go do what you have to do. Because, look, Ole Miss has seen both sides of this thing over the last 5 years. For 14 and 15, they saw, hey, access bowls and what that does to academic recruiting, which is in a mess right now, and how that fixed that. Football does so many different things. Ole Miss saw the positives and the very, very top of that.
Yeah.
I've also seen the very bottom of that too. So it should be a no-brainer as far as no restrictions here. Go get your guy, whomever that is at this point. That's the answer to this. I mean, to me, it's just...
I'm with you. I think you got to get splashy.
You got to get the right guy.
You do.
I mean, I get...
Let me throw a name at you. He's not on our hot board right now.
Okay.
Although no one can see it because our admin's down.
Yeah,
but I'm told that it's
being worked
on.
It's being
worked on.
Okay.
It's engineering thinks they pinpointed the issue. They're working on it. So...
Okay,
Joe Brady.
Say that, and then Jay, I think, maybe trying to call. See if that's him. I will.
Jay Tate?
I don't know. It's a number with his area code, so see if that's him.
Okay.
Because it'll make me more likely to want to pick that number.
Is it Joe Brady, the offensive coach at LSU? He's 30 years old.
I know there's a group and a buddy of both of ours that likes him a lot. I would be very, very scared of that, frankly. I would be very, very scared of that. I just would. So I mean, do you agree? Or are you different?
I think I agree.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
So much of that deal is that Joe Burrow is terrific.
Who's on the line?
This is Jacob from Montgomery, Alabama.
Jacob, how are you?
And, I'm doing good. How are y'all? What are y'all's thoughts on possibly hiring, like, promoting Rich Rodriguez or Mike McIntyre to head coach? Like, what are y'all's thoughts on that?
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it? I
No.
mean, like, I've heard that, like, some sort of circumstance that we would hire, like, Mike McIntyre to promote him to head coach, then get a guy like Barry Odom as our defensive coordinator. But I don't know. I just want to hear y'all's thoughts on that, because, like, those are just coming from, like, people that I'm friends with that we all follow Ole Miss, and I just wanted to hear y'all's thoughts on.
Yeah,
on
it's
that.
appreciate the call. We'll talk about it. It's a clean break for me. I mean, it's nothing against Mike or Rich or anybody. I'm starting completely fresh.
Yes.
I'm done with this tenure in any combined way whatsoever, and I'm out.
Yeah.
Like it's completely starting over. We got a question here from Mike Henry. We'll do this on the board real quick on the thing. You're the AD. 3 names you got to bring in for interviews. Who you got, Mr. McCready?
Oh, I'm bringing in Mike Norvell.
Okay.
I'm bringing in Lane Kiffin.
And Fuente?
And I'm probably bringing in Justin Fuente. Yeah.
Trying to think if I can argue with that in any way. You like Drinkwitz a lot.
I like Drinkwitz a lot. I like the guy at Charlotte a lot. But right now, this is a fan base that's starving to get excited. It wants to get excited. Look at the reaction we're getting today. They want to get excited. They desperately want to get excited. I've given them something to excite them.
You think Kiffin's a good fit here? You wrote about it in 2017.
I did. I wrote it the day that they hired Matt Luke,
Yeah.
knowing that Matt Luke was about to get
And it
hired.
was a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek article, but not
no,
really.
it wasn't. No, it was not. Maybe a little, but not really.
Explain. Why do you think he makes a lot of sense?
Because you're Ole Miss, okay? I think you can win at Ole Miss, but I think you do have to kind of get you can't.
I do like Will Healy. I want to at least talk to Will Healy.
I'd talk to Healy.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
See, I think that people make too big of a deal of him leaving Tennessee quickly thing. He left Tennessee for USC, and he won big at USC on probation, on sanctions. Forget the Raiders thing. That was a long time ago. Who gives a damn? And nobody wins with the Raiders. But he was winning at Tennessee. They were building something at Tennessee. He's got contacts. He knows a lot of people. I think he's learned a lot. He's winning at FAU right now. They're in the championship game in their league.
They've won it before.
Why not? What are you worried about? That he's going to run around and I mean, all you got to do is put some rules down. Hey, you can't, get a girlfriend in Memphis. Be smart.
Again, he's single. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. Who cares? Go get a girlfriend in Memphis.
I have a feeling the majority of the fan base, as long as he won, wouldn't give 2 craps what he was doing.
No, just be smart. Don't be an idiot.
Oh, I get that.
Don't be an idiot. Maybe he's gotten a lot of the idiot stuff out of his blood. He's a hell of an offensive mind. Nick Saban wouldn't have hired him had he not been an offensive mind. He's learned a lot from Saban. Checks a lot of boxes. He's coached in this league before. He can handle media. I'm not saying go get him, but the question was, name me 3 people you'd want to talk to. He would be one of my 3 people I would absolutely want to dig in deep.
You're not going to get PJ Fleck from Minnesota. He's a Big Ten guy.
Yeah, you're not getting that done. And plus, he just signed a deal through 2026. His buyout's astronomical.
What you ought to take from PJ.
That's another Kiffin thing is the buyout's not bad.
Here's what you ought to take from PJ Fleck. His little closing comment yesterday. Did you hear this?
I did not.
Did you hear this?
No.
So, Fleck's getting done. They obviously have a very disappointing game on Saturday. They probably missed the Rose Bowl because of that loss.
The loss to Wisconsin, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he made point, and it's where Ole Miss was, and then Ole Miss backtracked. Fleck's argument, though, at the end of it was, what? Would you like the bottle?
I would.
Neil's pointing and asking for the bottle at this point, so we can oblige that. So, what Fleck said was, here's the main point, is everybody's worried about, the fan base is terrified about going backwards. Getting back to what Minnesota's always been. Backwards is over. This is where we are. This is what we're doing. So get that out of your head. We're here and we're moving up, and this is what your program is now.
Yeah.
And that's a huge deal. That frankly, a lot of programs this takes admin, this takes coaches, this takes fans, this takes everybody. It takes a full boat. Not to use a bunch of puns, but
he's excited.
Takes a full boat. You've got to figure out that's no longer the program we are. You're taking the next step, and then keep doing it. And I thought Fleck was really interesting there because, frankly, it is doable at Minnesota, probably.
Sure, why not?
So why not? Yeah, and it's look, it's doable. You're an SEC West school. You've been ranked in the top 4 in the country in the last 5 years.
Of course. Why would it
just become that program?
Yeah. Of course it's doable at Minnesota. It's doable here. It's doable at a lot of places. That's crap. I mean, that's why I push back and people are like, oh, you're becoming an Arkansas fan. No, I'm not, but it's doable at Arkansas. Bobby Petrino won at Arkansas. Houston Nutt won at Arkansas. You can win at Arkansas.
Houston Nutt won the West 3 times.
Is it hard? Of course it's hard.
It's hard everywhere to some extent.
You can win. A couple of names that have come up on this deal that we hadn't even talked about. Bronco Mendenhall.
Nah.
Pete Golding.
Shine off, but he's going to recruit. I mean, look, I'm not going to judge any head coach on what his unit did necessarily, but I think a year later, or 2 years later, I'm away from that a little bit.
I think so too.
Yeah. Who's on the line? Okay, we'll try again. If we're not going right to people sometimes.
Someone mentioned Tom Allen. I like Tom a lot.
That's connected. Stop. No connect. No connect.
It's
move
connected,
on.
and I wouldn't go there. And frankly, and I like Tom, but Tom's boring.
Yeah. Who's on the line?
Hey, it's Zach. What's up, guys?
Hey, Zach. What's up?
What's up?
All right, I had to call in because Neil is
and
doing
I did not
the
do
Lord's
this on
work
purpose,
with
people.
all this
I just
talk about
chose a
Lane Kiffin.
number. I do not have Zach's number memorized. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've been preaching about Lane Kiffin for the past couple weeks, and Lane is pretty high on my board. So I just wanted to call in and talk about that. Then also, y'all been talking a lot about Will Healy, and that was another guy that, for me, I would like to see another year from him at Charlotte. But he's doing some great things at Charlotte right now. 7-5 in 1 year, and first winning season for the 49ers. So pretty big deal.
He did a heck of a job at Austin Peay. What's a little more profile on Healy?
So I remember reading an article. I can't remember the publication it was from, but essentially the number that jumped out to me was, I think in 1 year, Austin Peay brought in like 60 total recruits for the entire year. And then he completely changed that and brought in, upwards of 800. And a good buddy of mine works in the beer industry. He went and saw him speak at a, just some kind of forum. Said the guy just completely engaged the room. And he said that when he got to Austin Peay, the main thing he noticed was they were wearing Russell athletic gear. And all jokes aside, he said, if we're going to be the real deal here, we have to be with a real deal brand. And, I mean, he did what he had to do, used some of his own money, and now Austin Peay wears Under Armour. So for me, he's 34. He just seems to get it. I know that's cliche, but he seems to know what he's doing recruiting-wise, coaching-wise, and he won 7 games at Charlotte, and this is their 6th year in existence as a football program. As Neil always likes to say, I'll steal his line here. I think he's a future star in the industry. I mean, people have been talking about him a lot this year, and yeah, he's done some great things. But yeah, Kiffin.
What do you think of Norvell?
I do love Brian Harsin.
What do you think of Mike Norvell?
So here's my.
Because I just got a text. I just got a text from somebody.
Yeah.
That makes me think this Norvell to Ole Miss thing is a little more real than a lot of people think it might be.
You want to elaborate?
No, but
yeah, I've got some texts tonight too. A lot of smoke around that. Look, with Norvell, I've always said he's a phenomenal coach. I think he's a great evaluator as a recruiter. You can see that this year with Kenny Gainwell. He's done a fantastic job developing him. But as a coach, for me, it was always he has to win the big one. And I know that Scott Frost had that monster down at UCF, and Charlie Strong was pretty good in his first couple of years there. They never won the big game. They never won the AAC. He's won division titles there. I think it was 3rd straight year this season. He has his chance this week to win an AAC title against Luke Fickell in Cincinnati. That was always my reservation about him, was that he never won the big one. But I think that would be in the ballpark of a home run hire. I don't know if that's speaking out of turn. At least a stand-up triple. I think he would do wonders for Ole Miss in recruiting in the city of Memphis. And, the unsubstantiated claims about his personal life and things off the field, what have you, the guy wins. He has won a ton of games at Memphis, and they're pretty much the powerhouse in Group of Five right now.
Here's what I like about him is he wins. He wins.
Gonna move on, Zach. Appreciate you calling.
He's winning this year with is it Brady White, the quarterback?
Brady White.
Who I'm sure I've said this a lot, and I don't mean it in a demeaning way. I'm sure he's a wonderful kid, but he's not a particularly talented quarterback.
No.
And they score a bunch of points and get it done.
Jared Duke in our live chat says Healy recruited him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Jared, what's up, man?
Yeah. So
speaking of people, I enjoyed
he was
covering.
a fantastic recruiter. Was the quote he used there in the live stream that I just saw. So.
But here's the point.
Okay.
If you're a school like Ole Miss, you're in the SEC, you've got a lot of money, you've got facilities, you've got a fan base and all that stuff, you can get a really good coach. You're not limited. Don't do this thing where you're like, oh, well, it's just us. We're not Alabama. No, you're not Alabama. But you know what, Chase? That applies to how many D1 schools are there?
130-ish.
That applies to about 128-ish schools.
Who's on the line?
Hi, this is Big Ben from Laurel.
How's it going?
It's going good, guys. I know we're all talking about who we're going to hire. I just, want to get a quick retrospective on the Luke era. I actually worked for the football team Freeze's last year and Luke's first, and I was on the sidelines during the season. I mean, people may know who I am from Ben, but whatever. So anyone with a program might, but I was so small time, no one cares. So I just remember during the Egg Bowl week, we had all the arcades in the locker room, and he was just, going through the facility like, he knew he might not be there anymore. Like he was just soaking it all in, like it may be his last few days there. And I just kind of, that made me really respect him a lot. I think the players really liked him. And then, and I also remember his first game, him asking Tom Luke, should he have kicked the field goal, and that kind of scared me a lot. So that happened too.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, so
optically,
I was on the sideline. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Appreciate the call. Look, from a Matt standpoint, that was optically one of his worst deals the entire time. Is it whether it was right or not right as far as what he was actually doing? It seemed like it didn't seem like he was talking to Tom way too much during games, or at least having him around. That was optically it lost him support throughout the time. It just absolutely did. Are you telling me whatever you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, I just texted it to you.
Okay.
There's a lot of I'm not a lot of people. They're on our site right now. I'm not gonna do this to people. I'm not gonna do the cryptic thing. There's a lot of buzz about Mike Norvell and Ole Miss right now.
Really? That quick?
It's significant. Now, people are using the words "done deal," and I think that's bound to be premature.
Yeah, that's not there. Who's on the line? Who do we have? Caller?
You got to turn your devices down. The people that are asking about Hugh Freeze, and I swear I'm not about to rip Hugh Freeze. There's simply zero chance that Ole Miss rehires Hugh Freeze. There's a 0% chance. It's not happening.
You sure? Zero.
Who's
on the line?
C. Moses, 2373.
Yeah, how are you? What's up?
Doing well. If Neil is right about Norvell, I think Ole Miss is looking pretty good there. The offense seems like it's kind of set up for him, especially if he can keep Corral. What do y'all think on that?
Well, I think if you're Matt Corral,
you're in a holding pattern
right now.
Because look, depending on who you hire, Sorry, I didn't know you had a question. I apologize. Put it in the live stream, and we'll talk about it if we like it. So the thing with Corral is that there's a possibility that depending on who comes in, what kind of system they run, if it's some really just throw it around kind of pass happy thing, you could be Corral as the quarterback, throw into John Rice next season. I mean, there's no guarantee you wouldn't move him somewhere and play Corral. So I mean, I think if you're Matt, especially considering that you've got to sit out if you leave, it makes all the sense in the world to just chill out and see what happens.
And what's really great about Norvell's system, it seems like it's a run-heavy spread variation. So there's a lot of play-action opportunities, so he doesn't have to, worry about winning games himself.
No, listen. I thought the way that the quarterback thing got handled this year at Ole Miss was a super negative for Matt. I said it all year. I think I was right. I heard that from multiple people.
I didn't mean to hang that out, but go ahead.
I do think they're going to make a hire that makes sense in today's modern offensive schemes. They're going to hire somebody who runs an offense that is appealing to players who are potential NFL prospects. And I think Ole Miss was in danger of getting away from that with where they were headed. It's why I don't think there's a chance in the world that they went through all of this, fired a really nice guy who they really liked, who loves Ole Miss with a burning passion so that they could hire Rich Rodriguez. Just don't see it.
No, I don't mean, come on. I know I've fallen victim to that in the past, but who's on the line?
Carlisle Porter.
How's it going, Carlisle?
Hey, I was wondering, who do y'all think out of Norvell and Kiffin, who do y'all want more?
I don't know. If it were me and I were the AD, I'd want to talk to both of them. I think Kiffin has a higher ceiling and a much lower floor. I think Norvell is obviously a proven winner. I mean, you cannot ignore what he's done at Memphis. You just can't. He's very consistent he's built an exciting program there. People like him. Kids like him. He's recruited at a pretty high level considering where he is. And you can't help but wonder what he would do with SEC resources.
Yeah, and then if players are to transfer, how many do y'all think will transfer from if they clean house?
It's almost impossible to answer that because you just don't know who the new coach is going to be. And
you'll have some leave you're not expecting, and frankly, you might even have some that are in there come back.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not obligated to have to leave. They would get a chance to meet with the staff and see where it goes.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, no problem at all. Let's take one quick break here, Neil, while we're doing this. You in a place to do that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Podcast is brought to you also by Master Cuts Lawn and Landscape, premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi, but a lot more as well, including custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces with paver patios, forestry mulching, and more. That's 662-607-7773. Or for a free quote, go mastercuts.com.
I said I could, and then I got to pull something up here.
Well, we're a little busy at the moment. We're doing a lot of things at once.
I always refer to Bull Durham. We got a lot going on. We're also brought to you by Dead Soxy. They're running a BOGO. Listen, it goes through Monday. It goes through Cyber Monday, so you want to get this done today. What you do is you enter promo code RG19 in your checkout box. You have to put both items in the cart. You put them both in. One you pay for, one's free. But you got to put them both in. Enter the promo code RG19. There's one BOGO per transaction. That's buy one, get one free, in case you're wondering. So if you buy 6 bundles in your cart, you only get 1 bundle free. So what you want to do is if you want to get 6 bundles, make 6 transactions and enter that RG19 code every time. It's an unlimited number of transactions. You don't have to have a ULM degree to figure that out. So load up your sock wardrobe for the year with this incredible offer from Dead Soxy. We're now 4 weeks away. Is it 4 weeks or about 3 weeks away from Christmas? About 3.5 weeks away from Christmas. Don't let yourself be the person that gets caught in the hustle and bustle of last-minute shopping. Our friends at Blue Delta are offering gift cards for their bespoke raw denim jeans for $100 off. It's a great way to treat your friends and family with a great Mississippi-made product for the holidays. Drop by the Oxford studio to purchase or get in touch with Blue Delta on their social media or at info@bluedeltajeans.com to have a gift card mailed to you anywhere in the world. That's bluedeltajeans.com. Our picks come up every Thursday. It's kind of hard to even imagine. Thursday feels like it was a million days ago now. Our picks are sponsored by Southern Craft Stove and Tap, located off Highway 7 and Sisk Avenue. Southern Craft Stove and Tap places an emphasis on food and atmosphere, has a come-as-you-are environment, 30 craft beers, high-quality selection of cuisine and libations. Join them for lunch, dinner, Sunday brunch, or have your favorites catered out. Catering orders receive $20 off any order totaling $100 or more if they're placed online. So avoid the chaos of parking on the square. Head over and experience carefully crafted dishes with your favorite Southern ingredients. That's Southern Craft Stove and Tap, Highway 7 and Sisk Avenue in Oxford. We're also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust based in Madison, Mississippi. Got clients in more than 20 states, got advisors in several states as well. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, as much more. They treat investment like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. It's pintrust.com, PINN trust.com.
So back to it here. 1 second. I feel like one of those old-timey operators right now. I have like 7,000 things.
Any idea if Ole Miss has announced a search firm, Chase?
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
No, they will, I'm sure.
Have you heard anything about a search firm?
But not yet, no. For confidentiality purposes, I'd be shocked if they didn't. I mean, no, I'm not even making jokes this time. That would make a lot of sense. Who's on the line?
Hey guys, Lee from Florida. How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. Hey, wanted to hear your thoughts. I thought about this immediately after the Iron Bowl. You know, as the landscape of the West kind of reset, I think that really got some, you know, the power players, the boosters that you speak of. I mean, you know, the thought that you can win at Auburn, you can win at LSU. It's just not Alabama and the rest of the SEC West anymore. I just kind of want to hear your thoughts on that. That was the immediate thought I had after the Iron Bowl was, man, you know, look at Auburn, and you know they're perennially up and down, but you can win there. And I'm not saying we're Auburn, but we're not too far away either.
There's no doubt you can win. Now, look, you've got to take advantage of other programs when they're failing, and you're not going to do it consistently. You're not going to do it every year, probably. But yeah, absolutely. I think that's legitimate. I mean, even look right now. And we talk about how we think maybe they're close and all this different stuff. A&M was very beatable this year. Sure. LSU just annihilated them on Saturday night. Sure. So, no, look, if you're running efficiently at Ole Miss, it basically anywhere in the SEC, not named Vanderbilt, but especially Ole Miss, if you're running efficiently, there's no issue. Like, you can win 8 games, 9 games, 7 games, 8 games, and then occasionally you can pop the 10, you can pop the 11. I mean, you might have the 6 in there, but that's fine too. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's 100% right.
And I'll tell you, I went to Ole Miss, but I'm born and raised in Florida, live in Florida now. Nationally, I think the Ole Miss brand is stronger than people who live in Mississippi think it is. Maybe that's spillover from the Ole Miss-Mississippi State rivalry, and you know we've lost 2 out of the last 3, whatever it is. But nationally, you know, my friends that are Big Ten guys, SEC guys, whatever it is, I think there's a little more shine left on the Ole Miss program than a lot of the folks who, you know, I'm one of them. You know, they get emotional, get frustrated, but I absolutely support the decision to move on, man. And this was the time. I mean, you couldn't afford another 5 and 7, like, you know, like JG said. That can't be okay. I mean, winning 6 3 years ago, winning 5 last year, winning 4 this year. That can't be okay at Ole Miss. It can't be.
No, I think you do have to be careful. Thanks for the call. I think you do have to be careful about establishing a standard for your program.
Yeah, I kind of had a thought there, and I completely lost my train of thought reading something else. So it is what it is.
Man, a ton of buzz tonight about Mike Norvell. I'm just not going to lie to people and tell you that's not what we're hearing.
Legitimate, real.
Yeah, I mean, legitimately from people who normally are right. There's a lot of buzz about Mike Norvell. Some specific stuff that I'm not particularly comfortable going into without confirming it, but it's pretty interesting.
Are you hearing anything on anyone else, or is it all Norvell?
Right now, it's all Norvell, which sometimes happens in coaching searches. People get focused on one name, and it circulates for a couple of days, and then it dies. But something to watch.
Today is not my birthday. My birthday is tomorrow. So
happy birthday.
Yeah, absolutely. Norvell has gotten to this point before. That is one thing worth mentioning. He keeps getting to this point, and then it stalls.
For sure.
This point, then it stalls.
With
this point,
multiple
then it stalls.
schools.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So noteworthy, no doubt. But I kind of want to see when it gets over it and goes from there. So
Yeah.
that's a question that I have a little bit.
One of the things that I'll say is often when
It's Sexton Norvell's guy?
yes,
Okay.
often when boosters fork up major money, they do so with the promise that a certain level of coach is going to be hired. A booster, for example, doesn't say, okay, here's $5 million. Go hire some scrub. It's, I want this person hired or a person like this hired. That happens frequently.
That is a good point on the whole running joke thing we've had been going on. On my actual birthday, we won't have a show tomorrow, so for all the jokes for the last month.
How about that?
Yeah, I know. It's almost like it was planned. It wasn't.
It wasn't.
Or if so, Neil's gonna be really, really pissed if I held that out for a little while. All right, let's see. Get back into the line. Turn your device down, please. Who's on the line?
This is from Madison. I called in a couple of nights ago. You guys doing pretty well this evening? I mean, other than having to stay up late.
We're hanging in. It'll be a late night. We're hanging in.
Gotcha. Hey, I asked you guys a couple of questions the other night just to kind of put yourselves in Keith Carter's position. So I kind of want to do that again a little bit now that we've changed the format of things. One, how do you sell the program to a potential head coach if you're in the interview process, if you're Keith Carter, as far as selling the Ole Miss program as it stands right now? And then kind of segueing from that, do you think that Keith has full autonomy in this hire?
It's a good question. I don't know. It's great. I don't know the answer. It's a great question. There's kind of no way for us to know. Keith Carter's been the AD at Ole Miss for about 10 days?
My gut is yes for whatever reason. It's just a gut. We'll see. It'll play out. We'll find out. It'll be a topic. I think so, though. You've got – look, I don't expect – I mean, who knows? Who knows? We all know that. I don't expect some huge search committee or anything like that with this. I really don't. I think you get a search firm to help with confidentiality, with tabulating and all that stuff. It also allows public record requests to not be fulfilled, frankly. So you get the search firm. But otherwise, I think this is Keith's deal. I think that also with Boyce not being experienced as a chancellor to have a lot of contacts or anything like that, he's less likely to, at least in theory, step in on that. Whereas Vitter, I mean, in some ways with Luke, but especially even with basketball, when the whole AK thing went in, Vitter, because he came from Kansas, kind of thought he was a basketball guy. He sort of thought he knew the sport and whatever. So that was dangerous in a lot of ways with Vitter. I don't see that really necessarily being the case here. I think for the most part, this is probably Keith's show.
I think so. And if you're Glenn Boyce, this is a real opportunity to kind of win people over. And the way to win it over is to let your AD make a hire. Now, does Keith have to talk to people? Of course he does. And he'd be foolish not to talk to people. But Keith conducted a pretty good basketball search. Now, this is different. But like I wrote when he got the job, I think Keith is going to be a really good AD. This is a big moment for him. He's got to get it right. And I have a suspicion that he didn't make today's move without having a clue as to what he could get out there in the market.
Yeah. And I guess that's the next really big thing is, do you think this move is any way conceived unless that Keith has a real good understanding of what the market is for Ole Miss going forward? You can't just blindly go into this saying, okay, well, the fan base 100% doesn't want Matt Luke. I don't know what's out there. I'm going to go ahead and make a move and then just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. I think he's a little bit smarter than that. I know, again, he's 10 days on the job, but he's got enough experience to know, okay, I've got to know what is out there on the market for me. What does Ole Miss look like in terms of a potential coaching hire destination? What can I get on the market? What can I reasonably obtain that is going to make this fan base and make the financial income come back to where I need it to be? Don't you think?
Not sure I completely followed that.
I'm just saying that you can't make this move without knowing, hey, look, I've got to go obtain a coach that's going to make season tickets come back. And I know that yeah, it depends on who the hire is, but yeah, the fan base mostly just wants a clean slate. They want
absolutely.
They want the Hugh Freeze era over.
It's got to end. It's got to end. It worked against Matt Luke. It would work against anyone that they brought back. It would work. It would work against Tom Allen. It would work against Mike McIntyre. Yeah, it's time to cut the slate clean. When you raise this, if you raise this kind of money, you raise this kind of money to move on. Yes. Hey, thanks for the call. We appreciate it.
Bruce Feldman tweets 13 minutes ago, Ole Miss made a surprise move, firing Matt Luke today. The top candidate for the job may just be an hour down the road. If it doesn't end up someplace else, there's also some intriguing options not far away, and he's got a little analysis thing on Ole Miss. So he mentions Norvell there in the lead of that tweet as well.
Yeah, it's serious buzz.
Serious buzz.
Serious buzz.
You seem a little surprised.
A little bit that they would move that quickly, but if that's the case, man, I mean, I give.
Well, look, I mean, if there's other guys on him, you got to go get him if that's your guy.
Well,
if that's who you actually want, and that's what it is.
Here's the thing that I'm hearing a little bit tonight. God, I hate doing this, but what the hell? You people are being nice to us. We got 1,500, almost 1,600 people here right now.
Hold on a second, caller. Let's finish this topic.
He's been in this area for a while now. He has roots. You know, he's got kids. He could take this job. His kids could finish school at the schools they're in.
Has Calkins said anything about this?
I don't know.
Who's on the line?
What's up? This is Simica from the board.
How's it going?
Chase and Neil.
And Simica, hang tight 1 second. Stay with us real quick. Two schools and let them bid against each other. I don't have a problem with that. I'm a capitalist. It's cool. If that's what he does and he turns Ole Miss into an extra $3 million a year at Florida State, then all power to him. Go ahead with your call, Simica.
Just saying, man. Just when a guy couldn't love Keith Carter anymore growing up wearing the high socks playing basketball, tonight was a good night. Y'all touched on it a little bit, but this is a good day for Ole Miss.
So who do you want to hire? What do you like?
Oh, I'm all over the names y'all are. You know, I think Norvell is a seamless transition with his offense and being right up the road and all that. But yeah, Florida State, they're going to be big bidders. But yeah, I'm all over the names y'all have been throwing out.
Appreciate the call. It's kind of blowing up there for a second, isn't it?
I mean, I could work with any. But Big Ben says, "How could you work with Norvell?" I mean, listen, you as a reporter, you just do your job. I mean,
who's on the line?
Hey man, it's Anthony.
Anthony, good to hear from you again.
Have
you called in some other times we didn't get to you, or is this the next time?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, is this the next time you called or what?
Oh, I've been calling a little bit.
Okay, go ahead. What's going on?
Oh, not much. How y'all doing?
Oh, we're hanging in. Lovely.
Yeah. Well, I thought I might call in and bring y'all a little entertainment. Because good Lord, I'm not, Reggie from South Mississippi. I don't care about the linebacker's foot placement. But and I know y'all cut me off whenever you need to. I got it. But anyways, I want to tell y'all, last time I talked to you in Missouri, right? And so what happened to me on Sunday, so I'm driving back. Well, I didn't realize that at Missouri they were selling beer in the stadium already. And so I got there, and the lady behind me told me, they're selling beer. So I was like, oh, hell yeah. And so y'all's theory is correct. I'm a first person. I can testify to this. Like, I have been the least amount of drunk that you could be at a stadium because of this. So it worked against me. I'm driving home the next day, and I'm on the highway back to Arkansas. And y'all, I went and grabbed a bottle of water that I thought was water on the drive home, and it was vodka that I snuck into the stadium. I spewed that shit everywhere. It was horrible.
Good thing you
It was
didn't get pulled
absolutely
over.
horrible.
You'd have been completely done.
No, I know, right? My entire car smelled like vodka. It was absolutely terrible. That's not the worst part. So I get home, I bring everything in, and later on that evening, my girlfriend, she went to go grab a bottle of water. Well, y'all can see where this is headed. She took a swig of that bottle, and man, she threw like when she spewed that vodka everywhere. She threw that bottle at my head. It was so bad. Anyways, y'all may not think that's funny. I thought it was hilarious. But what do you guys want to talk about? I feel like everyone's asking y'all a bunch of questions. Y'all got anything good? I mean, are we supposed to talk about hypothetical coaching people, or what are we supposed to do here?
Appreciate you giving me a call. I had to laugh at that. We got a lot of new callers that aren't familiar with Anthony from our first night. That literally we were in stitches as we were. Let's see. Yeah, people didn't get it. Are you working?
Yeah, I need to take this call. Can you take a couple calls?
Sure, yeah. Who are we talking to?
David Prine.
David, what's going on?
I'd like to ask the question is, do you think move being made this early, does it help or hurt recruiting at this point?
As opposed to when would you be thinking? What are we comparing it to?
If it was made, say, later in the year, say after Christmas, January time.
Better because you don't want to get in that situation where you sign most of the class, then you have the coach leave, and you're dealing with a bunch of potential waivers and stuff like that. I mean, at least now you go to getting out in front of it. You've got a little bit of time at least to try to ease some of this. With a lot of the commitments, they're at least going to give you a chance to bring in the new guy. And look, head coaches are salesmen. Every one of them are salesmen. They know how to sell themselves, how to convince a lot of recruits that they're the answer to whatever it is that recruit is worried about. So no, it's better. I think you're getting into a much more gray area, much more dangerous area if you wait at that point. I really do. I think by doing it now, you're helping in a lot of different ways.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah, have a great night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Neil went to the bat phone there. I'm not really sure what that's about. He did not give me any type of hand signal or anything as he was doing that. So I have no clue. I don't know what that is. Maybe you might tell us when he gets back in a second. I think that's possible. Let's see. You back? For a minute. Phone blowing up a little bit.
Yeah.
You look rattled.
No, not rattled. Just working. Just
You want to fill people in?
I can't yet. I can tell you that beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Elijah Moore play, that deal was the final straw.
That did make that level of impact.
It did. The reaction among people over the course of the next 24 hours was more than Matt Luke could handle. But no, not rattled. Not rattled. Not ready to say that there's one guy, by the way. Not completely. The whole done deal thing, I'm not ready to go there. That's way too strong.
Let's see. I might have to take a call in a second, which is going to put us into a little bit of a weird spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trying to think. Okay. Sorry, we're on air and y'all are hanging in with us. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do this. So I apologize a little bit for that one. Here, let's take this call. Who's on the line with us?
Jonathan Howard.
Jonathan, how are you?
Hey, Jonathan, what's up, man?
What's going on, boys? What are you drinking?
Believe it.
Old Rip 10.
Yeah.
Oh, Rip 10. Man, that kind of night?
Turn your device down, please, if you would. And you can hang in and talk bourbon. You can talk alcohol for a second so I can do this now. So
Okay. Just if I get a second call, you're, yeah.
Well, no, you're going to stay and you're just going to hang out and you're going to talk to the people.
Be efficient and quick.
Neil, what are you drinking?
I'm having a sip of the Old Rip 10 as well. I'm trying to be careful, Jonathan, because there's a lot going on, and I don't know how long I'm going to be up tonight. It's probably most of the night.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. I've been on a Johnny Black and soda kick for the last about 2 weeks. So I get it.
So what do you think? Who do you want to see Ole Miss hire?
Man, I'd love to see Lane Kiffin. I honestly really feel he is a personality that can kind of take everything by the balls and just say, listen, it's a clean slate. It's a whole different situation. It's the most what's that phrase everyone uses? The old boys or good old boy hire. It'd be the least good old boy hire we could make.
Yeah,
I think it'd be the literal, like the stop to that whole conversation or ideal that is running this university, especially with the Boyce hire, especially with Carter, who I think is going to be great, but I would just love to see something like that off the wall.
Yeah, I think Lane Kiffin makes a lot of sense for that reason. For a lot of reasons. One, he's a really good coach. He's a good offensive coach. I think he's coached in the league before. He's got college head coaching experience. He knows how to recruit. He's a very good recruiter. He's got some NFL experience. Kids like him. I think there's a cachet to him that kids like. I think he fits at Ole Miss in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Plus, also, think about the fact that he would go at Nick Saban and Orgeron and all of those guys, and he would have absolutely no qualms about going balls to the wall in their face.
That's a great point.
I'm not going to bow to you.
No, it's a great point. In a league full of let's look at the division. You've got Nick Saban, of course, who's probably the greatest college coach of all time. You've got Ed Orgeron, who's a fearless head coach, especially at a place like LSU. You've got Gus Malzahn, who, to his credit, is not afraid of Nick Saban. Doesn't have to be. He's beaten him a few times. Beat him yesterday. Jimbo Fisher, for all the knocks on him, is going to go out and recruit the big boys. He's not afraid. So and whoever Arkansas hires, if it comes from the list that we've heard, they're going to have a good coach. And so, yeah, you're right. It's got to be somebody, whether it's Norvell, whether it's Kiffin, whoever it may be. It's got to be somebody who's not afraid to go, toe to toe. It's got to be somebody who's not afraid to fight the fight a little bit. Otherwise it won't work. It's why you can't do this learning curve thing. It's why I as much as people talk about a guy like Joe Brady at LSU, the 30-year-old wonderkind, I just don't know that really works. Is he really ready to go fight?
Not yet. No, not yet. Not yet. No, not yet. He will be, and in 5-10 years, he's probably going to be an incredible coach. But right now, I don't see it. And Norvell, I understand him, but still, there's a stigma of you came from Memphis, now you're going to play Nick Saban. Well, Lane's already thumbed his nose at Nick Saban. I was a big fan of Lane when we hired Matt Luke. I thought he would have been somebody I was rooting for the whole time to kind of bring us in because he can recruit his ass off, offensive mind. The co-eds of Oxford need to watch out, but that's about it.
Hey, thanks for the call, Jonathan. Let's talk soon.
Of course, guys. Thanks, boys.
All right, getting back in the saddle real quick. More Norvell.
He was more Kiffin.
No, I'm saying more Norvell.
I'm hearing a whole lot of Norvell. Are you?
We'll get to it. We can't right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared to say it's a done deal. Here's the flip side.
That's
I'm not sure I'm prepared to say it's not.
Really?
Yeah, it's not a done deal, but boy.
I didn't have it anywhere near that.
Okay.
But we'll see. How many females are in the chat as we're doing this? Just kind of curious. I saw somebody mention something about that. What my conversation was regarding Norvell. I can't go with anything publicly yet, but I have a feeling that it's probably something that will make the message board. He made me guess sometime tomorrow morning, something like that. So why are you looking at me like that?
No, I was just looking at you. Waiting.
You looked a little.
You think it might happen tomorrow morning?
No. I don't think so. Can Norvell or Kiffin hire the better staff? Getting asked from Dax.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. They both know a lot of people. They've both coached for a while now. I don't know. I mean, Kiffin knows a lot of people. How many people could he get to Oxford? What's the budget? All those things. I don't know the answers to those things.
I would feel like Kiffin would have, just from history standpoint, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything, though. So I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't know. See, it's more than 4%.
It's been more than 4%. 4% just kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit. I know it's been more than 4%.
Yeah, maybe it's 14%. Actually, it's not that high.
You don't think it's that high?
No, our YouTube analytics.
Our YouTube are so male. I mean,
Yeah.
they were scary.
Yeah, one time it came back at 98%, and I was like, "Oh man, really?" But that's okay. We are what we are.
Taking the call.
Yeah, sure, you can take a call.
Turn your device down, please. Who's on?
This is I do this at work on the board.
Okay, what's up?
I'm sitting up here. I got my buddy Delta Rev 22. Remember he called in Thursday night, talked about the old the bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, the very old Barton.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had it tonight. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay, especially for the price point.
Yeah, it's really good in the price point.
Yeah, very, very good, very good. I like it neat. It's good and neat. Just kind of wanted to call and say, kudos to Keith, man. I mean, it takes a lot of balls to do what he did. If what I'm hearing he did is what he did.
Well, what he did was he listened to people, and when people initially said it, he said, "Hey, look, we have to have the money in place if this is going to happen," and then by God, it happened.
I hung up accidentally.
He did a hell of a job, is what he did. He listened to his constituency. He listened to people, and he said, this is what we're going to do. But they weren't going to do it on pledges. They had to have the money.
Yeah, in hand.
Yes. We weren't making that up.
Pledges get scary quick, guys. Like that can get.
Yeah, we weren't doing that. We weren't making that up.
With 1,600 people on, trying to get calls in is kind of complicated.
Yep. I don't think we'll have to spend as much time on the hot board as we thought we would. I think we can shorten that bad boy up.
Oh, really?
I do. I don't.
To the point of, having one?
I think we have. I think. Can I be honest about something for a minute? Everybody understand something? And this is me liking money.
Sure.
I sure would like for this damn thing to go on for 10 days and not 10
Part
minutes.
of you thought, hey, I tell you what you ought to do instead is just let it stay till next year and then do it like week 5 and go from there.
I'm not going to lie and tell you that I had not looked at the schedule and said, if it fell just right, we could have a 2-month coaching search. But I knew that wasn't best for the Ole Miss people. I did know that, and I told you that. Now, I would hope this doesn't end tomorrow. We don't need it to end tomorrow.
You don't want it to go one day?
Not like one, at least
be
one
over
week.
before the hey, maybe that's just Norvell's press conference tomorrow that's been scheduled.
Don't.
12 hours.
He does have a game to coach Saturday. They play Cincinnati again in Memphis on Saturday. Something tells me we're probably going to be there.
Do you really?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Okay. Who's on the line?
I can't hear.
How are you?
How's it going?
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Hey, what's up? Who's this?
This is Kathy. I just want to let y'all know I love y'all's program and hashtag hire Joe Brady.
You like Joe Brady? Oh, we're already off. Brady's got a little following around our subscriber base.
I mean, I get it. He's kind of the
how much of it's Brady, how much of it's Burrow? That's the question.
I mean, a lot of it is Brady. He's a Sean Payton disciple. He's been in the college ranks and he's awfully young. He's going to get an opportunity, but are you ready to hand him an SEC West head coaching job?
I'm still no. Where are you? Need to see something first, right? Who's on the line?
Hey, this is One Trick Pony. How are y'all doing tonight?
We're lovely.
Hey, good. Yeah, I'm from Greenwood. I called a couple times earlier this year. I was just calling to y'all mentioned there were a lot of people that stormed out of the players' meeting earlier. I was just wondering if you knew if Kincaid was one of them.
I don't. We weren't there. We were doing the show. I'm not overly worried about players storming out of a players' meeting. Players are emotional. They're young people. They'll get a lot of that worked out. I've covered these things before. I covered a deal at Auburn years ago when Bill Oliver didn't get the job, and half the team talked about leaving, and exactly one player left.
Yeah. Well, with Kincaid, not getting very much playing time this year, you think a new coach would maybe come in and try to give him another shot? I know the coach at Jackson Academy, J.A. and Jackson, he seems to have done a really good job with Kincaid. I wonder if they'd maybe think about bringing him in as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a thought.
Appreciate the call. Let's see.
Turn your phone down.
Turn the device down, please.
There you go.
Who's on the line?
I got you. My bad.
That's okay. What's
this
up?
This is Coop in Oxford.
Coop, how are you?
Good. How are y'all?
We're good.
Good. So, where are we at on Norvell? Are we 20-80, 50-50, 60-40?
I don't know. I mean, just a lot of buzz on him. Frankly, he's the only guy that's got a lot of buzz on him right now. He's the only guy that has any buzz.
He's the only name that has been told to me in any type of level that is not just, hey, this would make some sense.
Do you think this could be like a Freeze Florida deal where they're using Ole Miss as leverage for Florida State?
Well, now, let me say this. The Freeze Florida deal was not leverage. Hugh Freeze was going to Florida.
He got emotional after winning the Egg Bowl. Apparently that happens.
But yeah, it's certainly possible that Mike Norvell is using Ole Miss as leverage. I don't think that's the case, but it's certainly possible. And if that's what it does and it gets him more money and a better deal at Florida State, you have to tip your hat. This is as you see with Barry Odom this week, as you see with Matt Luke today. This is a very volatile field, and you get what you get whenever you have a chance to get it. So yeah, that's possible. Sure, I don't think that's the case though.
So if Ole Miss was able to raise the buyout basically today, Hugh Freeze was top 10 salary before he was fired. Where do you think this next guy's salary falls? Are we back to top 10, or will it take some time to get back there?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. If you let's use the Norvell analogy again. If Norvell is Florida State's guy and you want to get him, you might have to pay. You might have to overpay to get your guy if you determine that he's your guy. I don't know.
That's true. If Norvell is the guy and it is announced sometime this week, how do you view Ole Miss's chances next season versus yesterday? I mean, is it an uptick or is it about the same or?
I don't know. There's still too many questions to answer. It's a lot of young talent that's going to be sophomores. They played a lot this year. That you still got to answer some questions on defense. You have to look at what happens in the recruiting class. There's a lot of those things. I think he's a better overall game coach than Matt Luke is. I think there's no doubt about that. But you are starting over probably with some new systems, new terminology. There's a lot of a lot of those different things that factor in. So it's almost impossible to answer. Here was the problem for Matt looking at that schedule next season, though. If it went badly, you were going to lose so much right away. It was going to be really difficult to ever recover. And then what Ole Miss couldn't afford to do was have that deal where the season started badly, spiraled, and then late in the season you had an interim coach in the soft part of the schedule who wins 2 or 3 games, and fans get emotional, and a certain media outlet starts lobbying for that person to get the job, and now all of a sudden you don't have a united fan base. The truth is, it became pretty obvious, and I don't say this with any disrespect towards Matt Luke, but it became pretty obvious over the course of the last 48 hours or so that the fan base was pretty united that they wanted change.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also kind of what you touched on there was if you were going to most likely make the change next year, why not make it now and kind of get a head start on it?
Sure.
But I appreciate you taking my call, guys.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Yeah, Jeremy Foley used to always say that. If you know you're going to get rid of somebody, go ahead and do it.
Oh, that's one of the main – that's the thing. I mean –
you need to put your headset on so you'll be able to hear.
Yeah, I know. I really need to make a call, but I'm trying to figure out a way to make that work where we can continue the show.
You're going to have to give me a second, a minute.
Okay, okay. All right. In all seriousness, I wonder if we can get Jeff or somebody to give me 5 minutes here because we both need to make a call that's actually really important.
Give me a minute, then we'll come back. See if you can text Jeffrey or something. See if he'll call in for a minute.
Okay.
We'll go from there.
Guys, you're kind of catching us as we're doing this. Both of us have a couple calls we really need to make, and we have to do them separately. So we're doing the best we can to make that happen. It is what it is. So we're not canceling the show. We're not getting off, but getting offline. But we do have to figure this out. So. Let's see. Let's see. Everything's been Norvell at this point, guys. I'm just kind of reading in the chat here. It's almost all Norvell that we're hearing. We're just trying to figure out where we're at, figure out what's going on with it at this point. But we're getting still tons of Mike Norvell heat at this juncture. Let's see. Just hang in with us. We're doing a couple different things. Yeah, I have no big problems with Norvell at all. I mean, he's best I can tell, he's been good to work with from media standpoints. Best I can tell, he has, put together pretty decent staffs from recruiting standpoints. I mean, it makes a lot of sense in a lot of different ways. I mean, it really, really does. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. It's a good question on how much to afford to pay. I really don't know, to be honest. I think some of it depends on who you can get. And just be smart about it. I mean, you look back at 2012, they did a really good job with Hugh Freeze's first contract. It was $1 million whatever, and then it was tons of incentives depending on what you needed at that point in time. And I think depending on who you get, I mean, Norvell, look, you're gonna have some competition here unless everybody is scared off by whatever. So otherwise, you're gonna have to pay for him. Kiffin's not gonna come cheap, but he needs back in a major whatever. And I mean, look, we're just kind of, other than Norvell, which appears to really have some serious heat at the moment, everything else is somewhat speculation at this point.
It's got a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Frankly, I mean, there's no point in lying about it. I mean, he's got heat to the point that I'm like almost.
You a little nervous?
Not nervous, just kind of interested. A lot of Lane Kiffin to Arkansas heat tonight too.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's that coming from?
Well, because they've been down the road. They met with him today, is my understanding, in Boca Raton. I mean, I think they're way down the road with him.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, guys, just thought it was like we're getting something to a point where we can kind of, or so I can do this at least, because I have a feeling this is somewhat time sensitive.
Yeah, I think it's moving.
All right, you on the line? You there?
Hey, guys.
Hey, it's Zach. Neil, talk to us
Yeah.
for a minute.
Hey, Zach, what's up?
Hey, guys. So things have, I guess, begun to swing in opposite directions with Arkansas and Ole Miss, huh?
That's what it sounds like. Although, literally, as we had this conversation, as we started this conversation, I got a text that Missouri is desperately trying to get in on Lane Kiffin, and so the bidding war could happen there. It's a good night to be Jimmy Sexton.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, is it ever a bad night to be Jimmy Sexton?
No, I don't think so. I think it's usually a pretty good night to be Jimmy. There's a lot of money to be made, and if you're Lane Kiffin, it appears to be a good night to be Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, so I've talked to some Arkansas people here and there throughout the week and weekend, and I've been kind of throwing you what I've heard the past couple weeks. And the flight tracker has been really moving for them. I think they actually had people camped out at the airport to see what was going on with them. But flight tracker has been active. They did go to Boca Raton. Some people were saying that a flight went from Boca Raton to Arkansas, and I just didn't see that being a possibility since he's getting ready for a Conference USA title game.
No, but
they
could
certainly met.
He could take a job at a SEC school and coach a Conference USA title game.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean that's not
I was
like
getting at. They're going to go to him, right? Yeah, and I know that Jerry Jones has been very, very adamant about money not being an object whatsoever. I think early on when they were going through the search that the Matt Campbell name coming up, and it was just kind of Jerry would just say, "Hey, just tell me what the number is, and I'll make it happen." But the Lane Kiffin smoke and the Mike Norvell smoke is certainly an interesting thing to throw in the mix in the SEC West with Jimbo, Ed Orgeron, and Nick Saban and Gus Malzahn. I mean, that's holy offense.
Well, and I'm hearing that Matt Campbell's basically taking his name out of the Arkansas job. So that usually tells you that, not that he was going to take it anyway, but that usually tells you that they don't want to be chosen over somebody. You know, these things. Look, if you're Arkansas, you want to get this done quickly. If you're Missouri, you want to get this done quickly. And the truth is, if you're Ole Miss, you want to get this done quickly because there's so many recruits on the line. The early signing period's December 17th. Let's do this because a lot of the people that are listening to this, if you don't subscribe to rebelgrove.com, we'd like for you to. It's rebelgrove.com. It's part of the Rivals Network. Zach helps cover recruiting. He and I cover recruiting. You've talked to, or at least heard from, recruits tonight. You've been following them on social media. What's been the reaction of recruits, both commits and non-commits, tonight to the news about Matt Luke's firing at Ole Miss?
So yeah, on rebelgrove.com, premium content. So if you aren't a subscriber, please do it. It's very cheap and it's worth it for times like this. But it's on there. Talk to a couple of recruits, and honestly, the most common reaction is that and I've talked to the commits as of today.
Yeah,
I'll reach out to some of the targets as the week goes on, but the commits, a couple of them caught off guard, didn't know, had no idea that it was happening. And I guess I had a couple that did not want to comment. Just I think they're probably wanting to reassess and see what their options are, kind of see, they look, and a lot has been made about the current roster, the players walking out of a team meeting and things like that. And look, players are emotional. They're going to react instantly. I don't think that that's anything that people have to worry about as of now. Not saying that everybody's going to stay or every recruit is going to stay committed, but I think these kids are going to take a step back. They're going to look and see who Ole Miss hires. But as of now, the responses that I've gotten from players is, they hate it for Matt Luke. I think, look, all jokes aside, Matt Luke was a good recruiter. I think he really resonated with kids. He reached them on a level of the family type atmosphere. A lot of people use that as, it feels like family, but I think it was legitimate with Matt Luke. DeSanto Rollins, the 3-star defensive tackle out of Louisiana, he was one of the more just well-spoken kids that I've talked with, and I don't talk with a lot of kids in recruiting, but just a really well thought out statement, response, whatever you want to say to me. I mean, he just basically said that he hated it for Matt Luke. He hated it for the university, that they're having to go through this tough time, but he said that he would stay committed as of now. You had guys like DeMarcus Thomas reacted, said the same thing, just hated that, he liked Matt Luke. He was looking forward to playing for him. But as of now, he'll stay committed. Haven't heard much from anyone else. A guy like Khalil Benson, the offensive lineman at South Haven, he said he was just in shock right now. I mean, it's, they're teenagers. If I was that age going to play college football somewhere and then the guy that I'd committed to is all of a sudden out of a job, I'm sure I'd be in the same boat. But as of now, those are the only ones that I've heard from, aside from the ones that said they do not want to comment. I'm not going to share their names out of respect for them. But yeah, I mean, kids are just emotional, and that's normal. I mean, I've had a lot of people texting me about, we've had, Jerry and Ely walking out of the players meeting, look, like Jerry likes Matt Luke, like Willie Hibbler likes Matt Luke. I mean, these are guys that played for him. They worked for him for however many years. It's part of it. I mean, it's when you break it down, it's a business, and that's just a business decision. These players are going to stick around. They're going to see who Ole Miss hires, and they're going to go from there.
Hey, we really appreciate the call. Thanks for filling in there for a minute. Appreciate you.
Yep. See ya.
So, took a call a second ago. I can actually fill this in here. We can do it right now. Talked to somebody who has connections in Memphis, and Memphis at this time appears to at least boosters with some clout for the Tigers. Seem to be only worried about Ole Miss at the moment. Do not seem to be worried about Florida State, Arkansas, anybody else, and they are pulling their resources together to try to figure out where they can get Norvell to at least make Ole Miss have to up it or to give some thought. The thought around the Memphis booster community right now is that Ole Miss is in a really good spot should they want to take it, and that there have already been at least some back channel discussions on contracts and different things on what that would have to look like, and that Memphis probably can get into the mid-threes is the thought on where they can get Norvell, but that essentially there is a number and is a path if Ole Miss decides to go that direction for Mike Norvell. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Oh, I think based on what I've heard tonight now and what you've heard, if Ole Miss wants to get Mike Norvell, it can certainly go there. It's going to have to play big boy ball. There won't be any nickel and dime.
Let's put this on the board real quick for people that aren't in, though. No, I think you're looking at a contract to get Norvell. This is just my opinion based off what I was told about what Memphis can do. I think you're talking about mid-fours would be my guess. That was a number that was relayed to me, and I think I buy that.
Yeah.
Something around mid
I could see that, mid to high fours.
All right, let's take a call, and that would allow me to finish writing some of this.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We're trying to make this work best we can. It's turn your device down, please. Who's on the call?
Hey, guys. Can y'all hear me?
Yep. Who are we talking to?
Hey, this is Jim and Hernando.
Hey, Jim. What's up?
Hey, just a quick question, kind of a complete hypothetical scenario, but let's say Mike Norvell is the guy. Are we looking at at anything publicly being released before their conference championship game Saturday, or would it strictly, or anything public being released, would that strictly be next week after their conference championship?
No, not necessarily. Sometimes those things work different ways. If you get a deal done, and in today's world with the agents and everything, if it's done, it's going to get out. So if it gets out that he's taking a job, a lot of times that breaks. The only awkward part would be him with the players that he has there at Memphis, or if it were Lane Kiffin, the players that he has at FAU or whatever. It wouldn't be the first time that something like that's happened. You address it, and you're big boys, and you move on.
Gotcha. Well, y'all keep up the good work. Y'all do great work all the time, but especially on these coaching searches. I'm looking forward to following it.
All right, thank you a lot. Appreciate it. I'll tell you while you're pulling up a call. This podcast also brought to you by the Westin Jackson in downtown Jackson, some Marriott property where you can restore serenity to your soul by visiting Soul Spa. You can also gather at Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro, sip on a creative craft cocktail, enjoy their curated wine list. It is open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Chef Caden's mission is to connect guests with community through local partnerships, so gather at Estelle tonight. We're also brought to you by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you are thinking about your summer trip already, whether it's to Florida, the Caribbean, to Scotland, wherever it may be, get in touch with John. He's a part of Virtuoso, worldwide network of travel partners that allows John to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. What you do is you give him a call, you give him some parameters, you give him a budget, he'll give you options, and you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast.
Podcast is brought to you by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com is the website. They have decorated the downtown area and the square. You can take part in the elf scavenger hunt, the holiday village, and much more. They also have the pop-up events coming in January, so a great time to visit Oxford. You can find out more at visitoxfordms.com and popupoxfordms.com. Caller, what's on your mind?
Oh, well, I wanted to get some pros and cons. Honestly, what's getting on my mind is who would fit around the players best, and it's less of a numbers thing for me. So
what do you mean?
So who would make a better scheme out of the players we have now?
I don't know.
Between Norvell.
I don't know, and I think you have to be careful in doing that. If you focus on just right now with winning games, you got to be careful with that. You get the right guy that is the best cultural fit for your program. That's the best recruiting fit for your program. I mean, let's be realistic here. Ole Miss is not winning the SEC West next year. Ole Miss is not playing for an SEC title next year. So I don't think you do a whole lot of that. You get the guy that has shown that he can adjust to whatever he has and he can win with what he has. And I think, frankly, with a lot of the names that we're talking about, they all fit that bill.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Who do you want? What do you think?
Oh, Kiffin gets me excited, but Norvell is also pretty cool. But I think a big name like Kiffin would bring some clout.
Yeah, I think that's at least fair. Although right now we're seem to be trending in one direction. We'll see where it goes. It's Neil's worst nightmare. This thing might be over by 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Oh, from a business standpoint, it's absolutely a worst nightmare.
Yeah. Who's on the line?
Jake
What's
from
up,
Brandon.
Jake?
So I was just reading through Twitter, and then 24/7 seemed to put out something about how Tarquez came walking out of the building, and he said, battered Ole Miss. I just want to get y'all's thoughts on that.
He said what about Ole Miss?
He said a swear word that's redacted to Ole Miss.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you want my real thoughts? So what? Look, you got to move forward. You made the decision. You're moving forward. If it upsets a few players, so be it. Most of them will be all right. And if they're not, they'll move on.
So like, yeah, I feel that, and also like Jerry Walker. Do you think that's just like a spur of the moment? He saw one player walking. He's like, hey, I'm gonna just make a statement with what I'm gonna do.
I don't know. I mean, they were, again, a guy like Jerry Neely's close to Matt Luke. He recruited Matt Luke. He likes Matt Luke. He respects Matt Luke. All of those things. He'll probably like the new coach. When you bring in a new coach, that new coach, if you hire a good one, is a professional salesperson. He's going to be able to sell himself to that staff. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
That all of that stuff, man, is just. I mean, I'm not criticizing the media who writes it or whatnot, because it obviously gets clicks and all that, but so what? I mean, if you hire the right guy, he's going to change the culture in your program. He's going to bring in the right kind of players for your program. He's going to recruit to your program, and you go from there.
Yeah, I feel like, do you guys know anything about like what Matt Luke said to the team after the game Wednesday? If that he might have said something that this is completely off guard, just like straight out of left field. It kind of is to the players in some sense. I don't know.
I don't think anyone inside the program saw this coming. I talked to people inside the program this morning, and I don't think they saw this coming. I think that today is a total shock. I think as a program, they all felt like they were getting 2020 and that it was going to be a litmus test. And then things changed. And what happens in college sports, what happens in professional sports, what happens in life, frankly, is money talks. And the money talked tonight. Loud and clear.
Well, thanks for taking my call.
A little bit here. Speaking of people being at that meeting, reading from Nick Suss with the Clarion Ledger. Just kind of do this on the show. Hey, look, so yeah, some guys stormed out, whatever. I'm not overly concerned with that. But this paragraph is interesting. Might make Neil a little happy if this is actually right from a timeline standpoint. Says Plumlee wasn't able to attend the meeting because he was driving from Hattiesburg back. He showed up late. He met with Carter individually. Said that Plumlee said Carter outlined to him the difficulty of the decision, talking about business side of it. Plumlee said Carter told him.
I mean, we're going to tell jokes and stuff, but it's hard for me to really believe that something is done in one night. These contracts don't get done in one night.
No. At all.
Now, I do think things are moving tonight, and that doesn't – but it's hard for me to believe that it gets done in one evening. That doesn't make sense.
Who's on the line?
Hey, this is Thomas in Tupelo.
Thomas, what's up?
Hey, man, nothing much. Hey, I was going to ask, so Ed Orgeron talked about building a fence around Memphis. Could this be the fence around Memphis now?
I don't know. I mean, you didn't mean to make this point, but here's the point. When Ole Miss hired Ed Orgeron, he wasn't an experienced head coach. I don't know that.
No, you're right.
I don't know that an experienced head coach would have said that.
The Memphis thing?
Yeah, we're not going to build a fence around Memphis. I mean, Ed Orgeron jokes now in alumni meetings and stuff in Baton Rouge about how hard it is to keep Nick Saban out of Louisiana. I just think you got to, That's why if I'm Ole Miss, I'm really tempted to hire somebody who's been a head coach before, who is a head coach, who knows how to run a program.
Oh, I agree. But my question was, now with the 2021 class that's so Memphis heavy, is this looking towards the future as well, realizing that a lot of your talent has got to come from that area being so close to you as a major metropolis?
Wouldn't hurt. Mike Norvell knows them. You don't make it. You don't do it just because of that, but obviously it wouldn't hurt him.
No, I agree, and you also help keep Tennessee out of that market and help kind of shield off some of Arkansas and Kentucky creeping in with the guys from the quote East. So I mean it couldn't hurt.
What you try to do in any of these programs, like Ole Miss did in basketball, is you try to get somebody who fits your program, who knows how to win, who knows how to run a program, and who can institute a program into your place quickly. P.J. Fleck did it at Minnesota because he had done it before. You want to get somebody who's learned how to institute a program at your place.
Do you think him being so close and watching from a distance, seeing how the SEC works, being able to play some of these programs has helped him learn how to compete and beat some of these programs?
Could be. Yeah, he's beaten Ole Miss a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely. And showed
yeah.
up in the first game of the year and beat them, so who knows?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. I mean, he's won. Kiffin's won. The guy at Charlotte, Healy, has won. Harsin has won. The point is, you can go get a proven winner at Ole Miss and who can bring it and win. It's why I've always pushed back against this narrative that Ole Miss is something different. That, you have to understand the unique culture of Ole Miss, that you have to understand the unique culture of Mississippi. I mean no disrespect when I say this, but I think that's absolute crap. I agree. I think if you can win at Boise, you can win at Tulsa. If you can win at Tulsa, you can win at Ole Miss. If you can win, you can win. Nick Saban won at Michigan State. He won at LSU. He won at Alabama. He'd win at a lot of places. Urban Meyer, for all the knocks on him, he won at Bowling Green. He won at Utah. He won at Florida. He won at Ohio State. He'd win at a lot of places. If you know how to win, you win.
Oh, I agree. I mean, if your coaching staff salary is in the top 20, you should be a top 20 team, period.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks. Just kind of looking here reading from Feldman's thing in The Athletic.
Okay.
Any work for The Athletic? So who it is?
I believe so.
Yeah. He mentions Jeff Scott, the Clemson co-offensive coordinator. I have not heard that name at all. It's a name he's mentioning.
Okay.
Then we both really, really like him, but I mean, he throws Will Hall out. And he threw out Ryan Nielsen, which seems like just a huge favor.
Yeah, that's doing a buddy a favor.
That's a favor. Yeah. Ryan was on that Orgeron staff that he wrote about back in the day. So
that's doing a buddy a favor.
Just a couple things there is that's on there. So let's see.
If my column published twice, which one should I keep up and which one should I delete? The earlier or the latter?
I don't know. I'll look at it in a second, to be honest. Who's on the line?
Hello?
Yes?
Yes, John Luca from Chicago.
John, how are you? Good.
All right, so I like Norvell as a candidate, but what do you guys think about Mike Leach?
I thought he really hurt himself in the aftermath of the loss to Washington the other day. I don't think he makes a lot of sense. I don't think that's the way to go long term. And I think Ole Miss, not that you're going to keep this coach long term, but I think you got to have a long view vision. I don't think Mike Leach is it.
All right, and what about Tom Allen, the former Ole Miss coach? He had a pretty good season at IU.
He did. Here's my problem with Tom Allen. He's been at Ole Miss before. To me, that would be a negative. That would be he was tied to Hugh Freeze. That would be another negative. And as much as I like Tom and my daughter and his daughter were friends when they were here, and so I mean this with no disrespect because a lot of people would say that I'm boring. Tom Allen is boring.
I understand. Thank you, guys.
Heck of a good coach, by the way, and he's done a whale of a job at Indiana.
So, text here from somebody a second ago. Hold on, let me pull this call in, and then I'll say this.
Kiffin did interview with Arkansas today, and I'm told the interview went well.
I'm shocked. The interview went well. Who's on the line?
This is John from Lafayette, by way of Monroe.
Okay. Real quick, before we get to you, I got a text from somebody familiar with the Memphis situation. Said that should something happen with Norvell, the thought is that nothing would be announced until after the American Championship game,
which is Saturday.
Yeah, which is Saturday. So anyway, go ahead.
Okay, I've got a quick question based on some stuff Neil has talked about in the past. Is that do any of the candidates that y'all discussed tonight have the ability to, I don't know, add layers to some of the processes around Ole Miss and the ability to be smarter about things than Freeze and his staff were?
You better hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I mean, I'm kind of playing, but no, seriously.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Most of the names that we discussed would.
Yeah, they'd have a working knowledge of how to get that done and the intricacies of maintaining some plausible deniability, which is the key here.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Who we got? Turn the device down, please.
Hey, Oxford Andrew.
What's going on?
Hey, guys. I was just curious. You know, the contract that Matt got, I think everyone would agree would be a sweetheart contract. I'm just curious. Do you think it was more Ross or Vitter, or did you have any kind of idea of what happened there?
Yeah, I think I have a clue. I think that Vitter told Ross what to do, and it's my opinion that Ross was like, okay, well, all right. I don't think Ross was ever.
I think too, Ross was obsessed with two things. I think one, market value being we're no matter whom it is, we're just going to pay SEC type money, and then B, I think that Sexton won a huge negotiating point when he worked in the automatic rollovers that basically gave Matt a 6-year deal because his argument was, hey, not going to run the clock until those bowl eligibility seasons are over or ineligibility seasons are over, and I think that was one of the huge mistakes, but then also one of the other huge keys there. I think you ran into the best college agent in the world, and it bit Ole Miss on that one topic where he got the automatic rollovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, totally agree. It just seems like like you said, a huge win, certainly for Sexton, who wins almost all his negotiations. But nevertheless, for someone who I guess wasn't really in competition for any other jobs, and Luke, it just seems like such a disproportionate win.
Well, yeah, there's nobody else to say, no doubt about that. But I think they were so concerned with making it look bigger than it was, or whatever. I mean, you can spin that positively or negatively, however you want to do it from what I'm saying. But yeah, I think for the most part, there was a big PR, big perception thing they were trying to pull off. And then at the same time, you had some of the Sexton stuff going, and it just kind of jumped all out and bit them at the same time.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
No problem.
So what do you think?
Yeah. I talked to that person.
Oh. Oh, there you go.
We've officially gone full circle now at this at this juncture.
The New England Patriots lose tonight.
I saw that.
Turn your phone down. Turn your device down. Hey, who's this?
I'm usually good at
You?
this.
I didn't realize
All
it
right.
was you.
Yeah, so
Do you have
are
to
we
talk
good
about
now?
this tomorrow?
'Cause
I mean, is Norvell taking over the radio?
Fingers crossed, boys. I don't know if you know this, but it turns out coaching searches are good for radio ratings.
I was told Memphis probably can get up into the mid threes. Is that about what you're hearing?
Yeah, so this would be my question for y'all.
Sure.
I think they can get to. I think they can get to around 3.5. I mean, they're paying 2.7 right now. Let's not act like this is for instance, Eli Drinkwitz at App is making 800,000. Let's not act like that these are similar things. Like
Yeah.
he's essentially, if you're Memphis and Mike Norvell leaves, my first call is Eli Drinkwitz and go, hey buddy, how would you like to triple your salary? Because I would imagine that would be something he'd be interested in. But yeah, so I'm hearing that it could be about 3.5, and so
you're hearing that
for Mike Norvell,
you're hearing that what
Memphis could get Norvell to about 3.5.
Memphis can get him to 3.5.
I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. I apologize. Pronouns, pal. Yes. I'm hearing that Memphis can get to roughly 3.5, and I think that there's a decent chance that Mike Norvell's agent was at the game last Friday. It also happens that Mike Norvell's agent lives in Memphis, so I don't think that that's like absurd. In terms of an offer from Ole Miss, I don't know, but I would think it would have to start with a 5.
I was told mid to high 4s, but sure. I mean, either way.
Okay. All right. So we're nitpicking there. I do better. Y'all ask me the questions y'all want to ask because I'll answer them the best I can.
How good of a coach is Mike Norvell? You're around it a lot. How good of a coach is he? Is he? Let me ask it this way. Justin Fuente built that program. Is Mike Norvell just a sustainer, or has Mike Norvell taken that program to another level?
I think he's taking it to another level, and I'll give you several reasons why. I don't know if it's necessarily X's and O's. I think part of the reason why Paxton Lynch got drafted where he got drafted is because Justin Fuente is extremely good at recognizing what a kid can do, and he showcased Paxton in ways that I think even the NFL couldn't showcase him. Now, in terms of what I think Mike Norvell brings to the program that Justin Fuente didn't, I think Mike Norvell is a better, for a lack of a better term, and I know it's going to come up as a pejorative, but I do mean this as a positive. Mike Norvell's a better politician. Mike Norvell is the guy that when he gets into a room, it doesn't matter who is in the room with him. They leave saying, I believe in that guy. And it's very similar. It's very similar to how, when you read accounts of people that were in the room with Bill Clinton, whether or not you agree with Bill Clinton's politics, if you were in the same room with him and when he got done speaking, there were a lot of people that would just go, man, that guy's a star. That guy's awesome. And the only reason why I use that connection is because to me, it's very, very similar in the reaction that I see with people in the same room.
What about his staff? What kind of a staff can he put together? What kind of a recruiter is his staff?
Okay, so if people ask me like what's the biggest positive you can give Mike Norvell, it would be this for me. I think Mike is cutthroat, and I mean cutthroat in the best case. Mike knew he had defensive problems last year, and if you're going to compare him specifically to Justin, Fuente is very big on he likes people that he's quote unquote comfortable with. Norvell knew he had a defensive problem last year, and he started getting rid of people, and he started looking for ways to improve it. Does that mean that Adam Fuller is the greatest defensive coordinator of all time? No. But I do think of the people that Mike Norvell interviewed for that job, he had no connection to Adam Fuller, who's his defensive coordinator now. He had no connection to him other than he had seen Marshall play on film and he liked what they did. He interviewed him. And is Memphis a juggernaut defensively this year? No, but I think we can all agree that Memphis's defense this year is significantly better than it was last year. And then on the offensive side, it's his offense, and he owns it for better or worse. Ryan Silverfield is a very good offensive line coach. I don't know if he'll come with him. I suspect that Ryan is going to try to get the Memphis job should Mike leave for wherever that destination may be. But I trust Mike on that side of the ball. And on the defensive side of the ball, I trust that Mike is someone who, as Neil would always refer to, understands it's a scoreboard business. And I think he is willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that his team has more points than the other team.
It's a pretty good endorsement.
If you could hire one or the other, who would you hire, Mike Norvell or Lane Kiffin?
Is this generic job or is this the Ole Miss job?
Ole Miss job.
I think my answer is Mike, and here's why my answer is Mike. I think the Ole Miss job requires a blend of igniting the network, if you will. But more importantly, what I think the Ole Miss job requires more of is talent identification. I think in Mississippi there are actually still diamonds in the rough. I really do believe that in the recruiting process. And where I think Mike has been very good, even at Memphis, I think he's been very good when a kid maybe flies under the radar of Mississippi. He is good at identifying that person. And I think at Ole Miss he would be even better at it. And I also think he is a extremely good X's and O coach. Is he a perfect X's and O coach? No. Does he have things that I disagree with? Absolutely. From a scheme standpoint, 100%. But I think he has more margin for error than Lane Kiffin does.
It's good stuff. Really appreciate the call. Thanks, man.
I mean, this thing could all turn any number of directions tomorrow. We can move on to somebody else. I mean, we could put Dana Holgerson on the front page before the week's over. I mean, things happen in coaching searches, guys. But
Arkansas is apparently going to talk to Justin Fuente tomorrow.
Are you eating?
I had a Triscuit. I haven't had anything but a turkey sandwich today, and I was kind of hungry.
The whole sandwich, though? I mean, that's a win for you.
Wow. Who's this?
Yes.
Hey, yeah, this is David in Clinton. I just wanted you guys to talk a little bit about Norvell's baggage and what kind of backlash Ole Miss can expect, and are they ready to deal with that at this point? I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah.
Thanks for what you do, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. There's always been always been rumblings out there about it. I don't know precisely what it is. I talked to an SEC AD who's not at Ole Miss who said that you can hire him, but he's just got to be upfront about it because you have to have a plan of action. That was years ago. I don't know if that's changed. I don't know.
He
was a super hot name 2 years ago, and everyone passed on him. And when I say everyone, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas, Tennessee,
where he's from. I get it. I mean,
Jay Tate said he tried to slide in after Jeffrey hung up, but he couldn't get in.
Tell him to call back.
Hey.
Who's on the line?
Hey, it's Lucky Dog 23.
Hey, what's up?
How you guys doing tonight?
We're lovely. How are you?
Just fine. Neil, Pinot Noir, delicious.
It is delicious. Thank you. I love it.
If you had to take your pick, Kiffin or Norvell?
We're going to answer that, but he's coming in.
It sounds like a cop-out, but I'd want to talk to both of them. I'd want to talk to both of them. I can't. I'd want to get a feel for the fit for both.
Good to hear from you tonight, Mr. Tate.
Hey, what up, fellers?
What's up, Jay?
Hey, you been getting calls from the 334 lately, or what?
We've actually taken 2 or 3 334s tonight.
Word, okay. Yeah. Well, my daughter ends up going to Ole Miss, getting more of that.
If your daughter's at Ole Miss, would you rather Lane Kiffin be on campus or Mike Norvell on campus?
I don't know if there was a great answer between those two, brother. I mean, we know about Kiffin and we don't know about Norvell, but I think there's probably a story there. I like Lane Kiffin for Ole Miss. I think he's that'd be fun. What's Ole Miss going to pay? Have y'all come up with a number?
I mean, based on what happened today, I don't think they'll let. I mean, within reason, I don't think they'll let money stop them. I mean, they've forked out a ton of money today to get this done. So I think if they have to go to $5 million to get a coach, they'll go to $5 million to get a coach.
They pick some. They pick some buyout up from places they don't typically get it today. So I think in some ways, just because of who they typically would lean on, they saved some money today.
That's cool. I think you got to have a conversation like the ones they had today, where they got the money together to get this done. I think there's a part 2 to that, where it's like, hey, getting rid of him's not enough. We got to be ready to take the next step, and we got to pay X number of dollars. And I think those conversations probably occurred. Oh yeah, so they've already got a number in mind of what they can afford, and if that's Lane Kiffin or if that's Norvell or some other dude, I don't know.
Because
pretty much those two.
Well, I mean, I think there's other coaches out there. It's you know how coaching searches are.
Yeah.
Because you've been braced for one for a couple of years that hadn't happened. It's never as cut and dried as you think it's going to be, and there's always a little wild card, and you don't know whether a coach is using your job for a better job. You don't know whether you're getting played. If you're an AD, you always have to assume that it's possible you're being played. So there's always multiple candidates, and quite frankly, what you never know, and this applies anywhere, is you never know whether a coach is unhappy elsewhere and hasn't really told anybody, and all of a sudden your job comes up and he tells his agent, hey, find out.
Yeah. Well, the thing at Auburn is usually when you run a coach, you've already got the other guy halfway set up. I don't know if Ole Miss will do that. Just got the new AD, president's a mess. I mean, I don't know who's calling the shots over there. Is it somebody that knows what they're doing?
It's a great question. I think it's Keith Carter. I think it's the new AD, but now – is it possible that it's a complete cluster? Sure, because anytime you do a coaching search, I mean, here's reality. Anytime you do a coaching search anywhere, it's a chance it's a cluster. I mean, the coaching search that everyone gives the most credit for is Mal Moore at God rest his soul, at Alabama years ago, and people forget Mal Moore panicked on Nick Saban and bailed on it and hired Rich Rodriguez for a night before Rodriguez took his name out. And then at that point, Mal Moore said, oh, you know what, screw it. We're going to ride this out. And maybe Saban's going to burn us, but I think we can get him. And they ultimately got him, and you know the rest. But every single coaching search that's ever conducted, whether it's Ole Miss or Auburn or Iowa or anywhere, there's always the potential for a disaster.
So just curious, over there, what are they going to do with Gus? Do they extend him back out? Do they do something? What do they do?
They're trying to get him over to Ole Miss, man.
Oh,
I mean,
shut
I think
up.
that's
What are
the
they doing with
deal.
his
No,
contract?
I'm just kidding.
What are they doing with the contract?
I mean, I think, look, man, 2 weeks ago, this guy was in trouble. So, I mean, the fact that he beat Alabama, it was an awesome win, obviously. And I mean, he's got 3 wins against Saban now, so that's rare. I mean, people are happier, but I don't think they're going to extend him. I mean, they might add a year onto it, but they're not going to make it richer, and they're certainly not going to augment the buyout. So I think he just needs to kind of get back to work and do what he's got to do to get this next season pretty good, you know? I mean, people over here are just sick of losing Georgia and LSU and, you know, Florida and blah, blah, blah. So,
hey, Gus, what'd you have for dinner last night after the big win?
Well, I mean, you know, obviously that's a big win, and to win the way we did, so I went over to Waffle House, got an extra waffle, and Christy got an extra side of the sausage.
I bet she did get some extra sausage last night. That's a big win.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of fun, man. That was a lot of fun. But look, dude, I've been saying for a couple of weeks, even back on G-Pits, I mean, probably 3 weeks ago, I think Ole Miss deserved better than Matt Luke. He's a good dude, but
you did.
I'm glad that somebody over there sacked up and said 4-8's not good enough. I mean, it sucks kind of because their defense really was getting better, and you know, maybe they were going to get better, but again, 4-8 is just not good enough, and I'm glad, like I said, somebody sacked up over there because Ole Miss deserves better, in my opinion.
Where is your daughter in the college decision at this point?
I'd say she's at a Final 3 at this point. She's looking at Ole Miss, South, and my alma mater, Transylvania University at this point. If I had to guess right now, I think she'd go to Ole Miss, but
so
girls are.
How'd you get Trancy into the conversation?
I don't know, man. You know, it's just an expensive school, and they are willing to give her a fair amount of scholarship money, and she thinks that like scholarship money is real money. Like you know, if she gets $30,000 in scholarship money, she thinks that's $30K in the bank, and it's just really fake money, right? I mean, scholarship money, it's just money you don't have to pay, right? I don't know. She's counting dollars like that. I think it's silly. You go where you're having the most fun, where you like it the best. That's what I say.
Okay. How late did you go last
night?
night?
How about you, Chase? We went 4 hours after the Iron Bowl, and I was ripped up about 2.5 into that bad boy.
Did you have to go to the hospital? If you go 4 hours, you're supposed to go to the hospital.
No, I didn't quite go to the hospital, but we were taking super chats last night. Somebody said they had to do the show naked. I draw the line right there. I'm not going to do that. Do you guys have super chats enabled over there?
Tonight was the first night.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet.
We appreciate that advice.
Yeah,
Yes.
I copied you a little bit on that one.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. Those people are awesome. Folks really do want to be generous when you're out there working for them and stuff. So, and you guys do an awesome job over there, obviously. I wish I was over there to hang out and be on the hand race guys. It'd be a lot of fun.
I mean, in like 10 minutes, Neil's going to fall asleep on the floor like that night. So, I mean, it's all good.
Yeah, yeah, fell asleep. It had nothing to do with all the alcohol you've been drinking, lightweight.
Eyes closed, snoring, just out.
And then Laura going, "What are you doing?" I'm fine. All right, guys. I don't have anything else to add now.
All right,
except
I
Steel
appreciate
Panther
it, bud.
rocks.
Good night.
All right.
I love you guys.
JG Tate, ladies and gentlemen, as we're closing in on the 11 o'clock hour here.
What time did we start?
Around 8, something
Okay.
like that. We're almost at 3.
There's 1,300 people on.
Yeah, you guys have no life. We love you, but you have no life. Turn your device down, please. Who we talking to?
Hey, this is Dustin in South Haven.
Hey, Dustin.
I guess my question is kind of a follow-up about Norvell's past, but I mean, Neil kind of alluded that he didn't know the full details, but just after going through the Hugh Freeze stuff, you know, I mean, scale 1 to 10, how bad do you think this is, and how, you know, Steve Robertson waiting in the wings to just rip us apart, or what?
No, I don't think so. I've never gotten that impression. I just think you have to be whatever it is. You have to, and this applies to anyone. This is why you hire a search firm, frankly, to dig into stuff so that you're prepared. So that when you hire somebody, in the event that there is some backlash, you're pre-prepared for it.
Okay. A couple other questions.
I mean, there's no like dead bodies anywhere. I mean, it's nothing like that. It's just you have to be prepared for stuff. And look, I'm gonna say this again. It's football coaches. These cats are rarely Boy Scouts.
But are we talking Art Browse?
No. That deal.
I mean, nothing that's going to crater your program. You don't do that.
Here's the thing. Art Browse is not hireable. As of this moment, there are 4 programs that are at least kicking the tires at a bare minimum on Mike Norvell.
Okay.
Florida State,
What about
Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Missouri are at the bare minimum kicking the tires on Mike Norvell, and some of them are doing more than that.
True. Well, let me ask you this, and a name that y'all haven't brought up, and I just wonder if this guy's even open to leaving, but what about Neil Brown, the guy from Troy, and now he's at West Virginia, I believe?
Have not heard his name at all. Not once.
Hadn't heard his name on this one, but, you know, I mean, it wouldn't be a terrible phone call to make.
Okay. Well, guys, I appreciate the phone call. Keep doing excellent work. We all really appreciate what you do.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, I think this thing's going to go a few days. I don't think it's going to be over tomorrow. Again, we'll.
I don't think so.
No, I don't either. I think it's going to run through a little bit.
Might leak a little. And someone might end up, God, I hope it's not us. So it might be us. Someone goes out on a limb and rides it for 4 days.
We're not real. I mean,
I'm not a big limb
those
rider.
aren't fun.
That's not my style.
Although you pulled a really quick trigger tonight.
I was right.
You pulled a really quick trigger tonight.
I was right.
You were right. Yeah. Just saying.
I mean, I had it.
Well, yeah, I called you back and you went, "Hey, I just put it out there." I'm like, "Well, okay, never mind. It's fine."
Did you have it too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
You weren't stressed out.
Oh no, not even a little bit. That was good. Who's on the line?
Hey, it's Luke in Madison.
Luke, how are you?
I'm better than average. Quick question for you. I think most of us enjoy this stuff. Y'all apologize for bad pod, sort of the behind the scenes mess. I think we enjoy this more than you might think.
Well,
but my
thanks.
question is, when you guys talk about different sources and people that you trust saying A, B, or C, I think most people would look at you guys as sort of inside sources for Ole Miss, obviously, and not naming names, but what are the people, when you say I've got a source that says this or that, are these typically people that work inside of a program, donors themselves, all of the above? Just kind of warned on some of that. Now hang up and listen. Have a good one.
Yep, absolutely. Yes to all involved. It's people inside the program. It's people outside the program. It's boosters. It's agents.
I was getting it today from people inside and outside the program. Let's put it that way. People connected to Ole Miss and people not connected to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons that I think we've done well. I said this hours ago in the show, is that we have different levels of sources. And I mean, I don't say this to be like braggadocious or anything. Not at all. It's just that I'm old, and I covered Auburn for a long time. I covered Alabama for a year, basically. I covered LSU for a while. I covered the league as a whole for a while, and I've covered Ole Miss for a while. I know people, and I think I'm a pretty good journalist as a rule. I mean, I like journalism. No, I don't like it. I freaking love journalism, and so I try to protect sources, and that helps me. And then there's a human nature. People like to talk. And so when it started to pop tonight, I was in position to get it.
And like you said, something this big, something people like to be in the know. They like to tell you things. They like to be able to tell themselves, hey, I was kind of a part of that in a way.
Sure.
I think that's a thing. Who are we talking to?
Hey, this is Major.
Hey, Major, what's up, man?
How are you?
Congratulations to on the award. That was awesome.
Thank you. Wasn't that cool?
That was really cool.
I just wanted to ask y'all's kind of, with the understanding of everything that's going on around Ole Miss, what you think the Ole Miss network is to be able to rally around a particular coach, how that interacts with other coaches, and whether it's Norvell or Kiffin, and kind of what that ultimately looks like in terms of being able to get recruiting up and back and where we need to go. And I'll hang up and listen.
Well, I mean, I think you kind of saw it today. From
that standpoint?
Yeah. You see it right now. People want to hope. People want to be excited. People want to believe. Simple as that.
Michael Henry in our super chat.
If I could hire one person, who is your choice? MRAD.
Mr. AD.
Oh, okay. I mean, look, I've said this all along. I've said this for 3 years now, so I'll stay consistent. I'd hire Lane Kiffin for the sheer hell of it. I'd roll the dice. I think his upside is really high. I'll acknowledge that his floor might be a little low. The safer guy is probably Norvell or some of the other candidates on the list. There's some other guys on the list that I'd be interested in talking to. But if I'm the AD, I'm wanting to excite people. If I'm the AD, I want to sell season tickets. I want to get people excited. I want to get out of this damn malaise that you all have been in for the longest time. I want to get people coming to the stadium excited about it. I want people in the Grove. I want people begging for us to do a Thursday show at Funky's. I want people packing the quarterback club thing to listen to Don Sheffield read stats about Southeast Missouri State. I want people excited because otherwise it's just not working. I want to sell beer at the stadium. I want things going. I think Kiffin gives you that excitement, but I think Norvell does too. Look, Norvell is one win away from taking Memphis to the Cotton Bowl.
Thank you very much, Nathan, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, Nathan. Memphis, not in basketball.
Yeah.
Memphis football to the Cotton Bowl. Let's not downplay that for a minute. Memphis football is one win away from going to a Access Bowl. Memphis. You don't think he could win at Ole Miss? Why not? Of course he could win at Ole Miss. Is it hard to win at Ole Miss? Sure. But, dude, it's hard to win at a lot of places.
The rumblings got really loud around late afternoon today is when it started really getting carried away.
3 o'clock.
Yeah, something like that. So we went, whoa.
1:30 was the first time that I thought I kind of felt an aftershock. And then about 3 o'clock it got real, and by 5 o'clock I was like, "Oh my god!"
5 was scorching.
Yeah, it was. There was no turning back.
Yeah, five was the point where even if they couldn't get it done, it was going to be mass chaos. They just had to get it done. It did reach a point where, hey, the stuff's just too low, and
there was no turning back.
We got asked this. Got asked this in the thing. So I go, no, today was a good day for Glenn Boyce. His Q rating went up today. He at minimum didn't block anything. May have had a hand in it. I don't know yet. We haven't really gotten to that part of this. He listened.
He listened to his constituency. I'm supposed to be getting a call in a little bit that's going to tell me kind of what went down.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. It's done.
Theoretically possible that we could do something later in the day, maybe tomorrow if something happens. I don't know. I don't really know what our schedule will be as we move this thing forward. But
you just said you didn't think anything would happen tomorrow.
I don't mean that. I just mean if there's a bunch of updates and stuff.
Oh,
we could always do a little quick, whatever. I mean, I didn't think we were going to get an announcement tomorrow.
We're going to milk this thing. I mean, yeah, we're going to keep people updated.
We have a press conference at 11 tomorrow.
Yeah. There's a basketball press conference at 2:15.
You going to that one?
I don't know. No promises.
They play Butler Tuesday night, Neil. Tuesday night.
I'll be at the Butler game, but my phone's going to be glued to the ear.
It's good. I mean, today was a good sign for Ole Miss. If you're, if you were kind of on the fence about Keith Carter, it's a good sign for you today.
Nathan asked, do we feel like Keith always wanted to move on but was blocked and then rallied? Thursday night went really badly. It's that simple. Thursday night went bad and things happened and it moved.
You're saying what is a question. Actually, I just got my email. I just got an email that said, was Elijah's dog thing a blessing in disguise? Let's say Ole Miss had gone to a tiebreaker, overtime, and then won the game. Does 5 and 7 save Luke's job?
Yes.
He's the coach right now if Elijah Moore doesn't do that.
Yes.
I fully believe that.
No, I know that. Elijah Moore pushed this over the edge.
We're not in the Eastern time zone. It's not my birthday. It's only 11 o'clock right now.
Wow.
What?
Matt Leslie won't show up, but that was a mean thing to say.
What did he say?
He said he called me a bad word.
Called you a bad word?
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's okay. I mean, I'm okay with it. He got blocked by our friends on.
We have a little filter going on there that said that wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no doubt. Elijah Moore's thing was the catalyst to this going on.
Yeah, I mean, look, people criticized it. I criticized it, but Pete Thamel's column, was it Saturday morning?
Sure.
It
might have even been Friday morning,
but
either
it was
way.
Saturday morning. It stirred things. It absolutely moved the dial.
Did it really save Moorhead, in your opinion?
Yes.
You think he's fired had they not won?
I know it. You know who my source on that is. Absolutely know it for sure. Mississippi State had already basically done it. And then Ole Miss won. I mean, Mississippi State won over Ole Miss and had a big crowd and people got excited and Moorhead gave that emphatic speech and he's going to get another year. Mark Keenum, the president at Mississippi State, it's a big deal for him to beat Ole Miss academically, athletically, and otherwise. It's a big part of what he does, and it bought Moorhead another year.
I have not done the Elf on a Shelf yet. Probably should have. She's old enough this time. I just didn't. So no. Kind of a bad parent there because that would have been probably a pretty good idea. But
our kids are old now. That's over.
You don't even have Jimmy anymore, do you?
Oh, Jimmy will come. Sure.
Oh, Jimmy still hangs out?
Of course. Because it's fun.
Everybody just lets you do it. And
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Dad's having fun.
Okay.
I mean, even though they're older, they're still your babies. You know, you still have fun.
Trying to see if one of these is somebody that I told to call in. No, I don't think
John
so.
Little says, what is Super Chat? Can you describe for John?
Super Chat is an ability on YouTube that if you essentially make a donation, your chat shows up in really bright letters, and it shows us to look at it, and we typically will answer your question on the show. So it allows you to stand out, to be very nice to us.
I'm a big fan.
Neil likes the Super Chat. He's He likes that I took the 90 seconds to enable that bad
Yes,
boy
I
a little
do.
while ago. It's pretty too. Yeah, J Tate's been doing the super chatting a little bit, and it is handy though. I mean, it sticks out. So it's all good.
Got to give me credit. I've consistently been a capitalist.
No, David Brandt was on our show. I was telling him to call in, but I don't think he's called in yet. So.
Oh, I texted with David a little while ago.
Yeah, he sent me a text. He told me happy birthday. Told him thank you.
Your birthday's tomorrow?
My birthday's tomorrow. Well, in 52 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday.
It's fine. I'm not a big birthday person.
I'm not either.
At all.
At all.
I mean, what you hate it. I mean, your skin kind of starts crawling and stuff, which I think is probably a little excessive, a little carried away. But
it probably is. I got to work on it. I'm trying.
Your device is down. I'm very, very proud of you. Yeah. How are you doing, bud?
Doing well. First off, I'd just like to say for Neil McCready, roll tide.
Roll tide. What's up, Dave?
I'm doing well. Sorry, I was looking at the screen at the same time, and there's a delay. So,
yeah, don't do that.
Anyway, I'm out on the West Coast now. What's going on? Anything happening there?
No, we're bored. We picked Sunday night. Just said, hey, you know what? We're going to do a show to midnight. We're going to do some super chats. We're just going to kind of hang out.
Getting really ready for the Butler game Tuesday night. Ole Miss, Butler, Tuesday night. Big game.
I have not heard Dave Aranda's name at all. I think Dave Aranda likes being a coordinator. My opinion.
Agreed.
How's Arizona? What's going on out there before we get into Matt Luke?
Oh, nothing. I was out at the Cardinals game today. Covered the Rams, smoked the Cardinals today, 34-7. But I was telling Neil I was trying to write my game story after the game, and Twitter's scrolling in front of me, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, I was just checking in on you guys.
We're doing well. We're a little shocked. This thing turned in the last week or so. I mean, we've been telling people day.
Thank
2 days since Thursday.
36 hours.
I mean, we've been
tops.
telling people forever that, hey, no, he's back, and we had pretty good authority on he was going to be back no matter what. And then, as we said on here, I mean, I think not just losing the game, but the way that thing happened with the bad look and, frankly, some in-game decisions as well. It turned the tide to the point of it wasn't even like your typical boosters that typically kind of get involved with this. It was people that, some of them that don't even necessarily care about athletics that much, that just care about the university, and we're trying to kind of change the profile there. I found that interesting because, Ole Miss doesn't have a ton of people that typically get involved in these things, and when you get some new names and some other people kind of pissed off, that says something in a place like this.
Yeah, I mean, I just anecdotally in Arizona, I mean, that game was being talked about quite a bit. Like everybody was like, "Did you see the Egg Bowl?" And it was not really for a good reason. So I totally agree with you. When you get people on the academic side that get embarrassed, people around the university that those kind of different things are happening, that's when sometimes it was a little bit of not exactly the same scenario, but shades of 2007 with Ed Orgeron. It reminded me a little bit of that.
What was your overall take on Matt Luke's tenure? You're here for some of it.
I mean, I don't have any sort of awesome hot take on it. I think it's a lot what you guys said. Great guy, put in a really tough situation. A good football coach in a lot of ways, but it was a really tough job at a tough time, and it would have been hard for anybody to turn that program around. And Matt Luke probably should not have started his head coaching career at Ole Miss. He should have. I think Neil wrote it, started somewhere like South Alabama and learned on the job, and it might have worked out that way, but it didn't, and now you move on. So, I think the players did play hard for him. There were some good qualities with Matt Luke, but, if a change has got to be made, I mean, and certainly he's getting paid, it sounds like. So just unfortunate for him, but that's big-time college football.
Yeah, David, hold that thought for a second because I'm going to answer this question and then David can chime in too. Philip Shue asks, does this happen if Elijah Moore's stunt doesn't happen but Ole Miss still loses? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think it took the bad look to get it done. Any thought, Brent?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that was a really, I mean, I think some people were over the top in their criticisms and things like that, but certainly it was a bad look. It was embarrassing. People were laughing at Ole Miss. It's one thing to lose football games.
Yep.
It's another to get laughed at. And then, on top of that, last year at the Egg Bowl, there was the fight and all that stuff on the field. And I mean, just generally, I think, when you're the head coach, when you're Matt Luke, at the end of the day, he was not the one that went into the end zone and did that. But it's your players, it's your program, you're responsible. And I think that was a big deal. It was a bad look, and I agree that the Elijah Moore thing probably pushed it over the top.
I hate to say the profile because that triggers people around here after the Chancellor thing, but I mean, you covered Ole Miss for 10 years pretty much. What sort of attributes, profile would you be looking for if somebody came down from the football gods and handed you the AD gig? What's sort of the fit for Ole Miss?
Well, I think at this point, and I hate to, Neil keeps stealing my thunder. I was watching this, but you've got to get some people excited, man. Whether that's Lane Kiffin or anybody, whoever it is, Mike Leach. I'm not saying to go hire Mike Leach, but you got to get somebody that gets the people excited, because there's been, a solid 3 or 4 year stretch where this dark cloud has just been hanging over Oxford, and a lot of it's been self-inflicted, but you got to do something to try to jolt your way out of it. I'm not sure you can, hire another kind of vanilla hire and expect to pull your way out of this. I think you need to kind of shock the system and take a little bit of a risk. I mean, obviously you don't want to do something foolish, but a Lane Kiffin, a Mike Leach, something in that vein, not necessarily those two guys, but you need something to kind of get this program going.
It's an observation from Nathan that I do think plays a role in this. Did Matt care too much about the Egg Bowl? Yeah, all the way around. Because it wasn't like they told their guys, hey, don't be disciplined. But at the same time, I think when you put so much energy into it, it does at least give the opportunity for players to make dumber decisions on the field. I think that's probably fair. I think State got into that with Mullen a little bit early on when it was all it was to everything.
You were around at the time, David. When Ole Miss hired Matt Luke, I know your reaction was, wow, I can't believe that's kind of the route they went. Do you think he even ever really had a chance?
I mean, there's always a chance, but it was a huge long shot. I mean, because like I said, it would have been hard with a seasoned veteran who had been a 15-year Division I head coach, just because of the situation with the NCAA sanctions following Freeze. That was going to be a really tough job. And so, I mean, there's always a little bit of a chance, but the odds were stacked against him in a big-time way. And in a lot of ways, I think he was kind of a good steward of the program, kept them competitive. Recruiting didn't totally bottom out. We had talked, I was talking about this on the Red Cup Rebellion podcast a couple days ago. We had talked for years that we knew that 2019 was going to be the year that the program kind of bottomed out. I mean, that was when you kind of looked at the scholarships, you looked at who was leaving on the offensive end with the receivers. I mean, everybody knew that 2019 was going to be a transition year. And I think Matt Luke almost played his cards perfectly with having a somewhat competitive team, playing hard. They were in most of the games throughout the year. And then, obviously the Egg Bowl happens and Elijah Moore and all that different stuff, and it goes south really quickly. But, 4-8 is obviously not optimal for an SEC team, but we knew this was kind of coming. I mean, you could see it coming. So I'm just interested to see where they go from here.
Mike Norvell makes sense, but we let you get it back to your desert Sunday night.
Well, I mean, I can't say it any better than Neil. He's got Memphis on the verge of going 12-1 and going to the Cotton Bowl. I mean, I think he checks a lot of boxes. He's an exciting coach. I don't think he's quite on the level of just getting people to leap out of their seats like Lane Kiffin. But yeah, Mike Norvell would be a really good hire. I think at least on its face, you never know how it's going to work out. But that's a sitting Division I head coach who's had quite a bit of success over the last couple of years, and I think he'd get people excited.
Appreciate you calling in and checking in, bud.
Thanks, Dave.
Absolutely, guys. Take care.
And thank you, Dustin. Appreciate you. It's very nice. Appreciate you a lot.
People have been very nice. Still 1,100 on here at 11:17. I think we've pretty much hit the topics for the night. I don't know where this thing's going to go. We'll see tomorrow. We got some Norvell stuff up on the board. Hopefully some, just for our sake, to make this thing a little fun. Some other names kind of emerge a little bit. Let's move it around. Let's see where it goes.
I get the feeling some other names will pop.
Well, that's always the way it works. I mean, it's never one name and that's it.
Here's what I can tell you, and caller, hang tight real quick. No one in the coaching fraternity thought this was going to pop today. And so you don't know whether someone's going to be interested who didn't know it was going to be available until today.
Yeah. The next 36 hours will tell us what's going on.
Absolutely.
Well, who we got on the line?
It's Patrick in Oxford.
Patrick, what's up?
Well, first of all, Chase, we share the same birthday, so happy early birthday to you.
Congratulations.
Happy birthday, Patrick.
And sorry, guys, I'm a student at Ole Miss. I've been studying. I don't know if I've missed this. I'll hang up and listen, but I was wondering what the percentage chance you think of Norvell getting the job is.
What have you been studying? What class?
Yeah, what are you studying?
Well, actually, I'm taking the CFA on Saturday.
You sound tired.
Oh, I'm tired.
I bet you are. I think it's
Appreciate the call. We'll talk about it.
I think it's a solid chance. I don't want to give a percentage number because I don't know.
I mean,
solid.
Certainly has become the favorite right now. I mean, that's duh. So
Would you go 50%?
Him or the field?
If I offered you, okay, that's a good way to do it. If I offered you Mike Norvell or the rest of the planet, who would you take? Mike Norvell or any other human being on the face of the earth, who do you take?
Norvell.
Ooh.
Right now, I do. It's the information I have to go on. I understand that tons of things can go weird. I get that. But as of right now, I think I would take it.
I'd be really close, but I think you're right.
Just judging by a couple things. Could easily be wrong. We'll see in the morning.
I know we're wrapping up in a minute. Let me tell you, this podcast has also been brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is a sponsor of what this week was my 8 weekend thoughts because stuff happened.
Underachiever.
Yeah, I know. It's up on rebelgrove.com. I'll do better next time. He's a big part of Savannah Square. It's a new 9-acre development, 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford Downtown Square, conveniently located east of North Lamar. Savannah Square has a number of different homes in different stages of development. You can check those out. Check out the model home as well. 215 William Street. It's savannahsquareoxford.com. Or get in touch with Harry at 662-801-5621. He's with RE/MAX Legacy Realty. And we're brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. With OUB, they offer the absolute best cash checking account. It's called Kasasa, and with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on the balances up to $50,000 and refund ATM fees nationwide. And they also offer their customers a commercial checking account, now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. Comes with fully interactive online banking. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured.
Turn that down for me, please.
All right.
Who are we talking to?
This is Jeff from Belmont.
Jeff, how's it going?
All right, it's late night.
It is. What's on your mind?
This coming weekend, are we not supposed to have a big recruiting class coming in?
That is affirmative.
Yeah,
Neil, you want to say how they're going to handle that?
What's the plans?
I don't know what the plans are now. They were bringing in 18 to 25. And I don't know whether that is
hard to believe that's happening.
Probably not happening now.
Well, yeah, that's what I kind of figured, but I just didn't know the
Do you just
process had to go through.
stop?
Reschedule.
You reschedule. You hope to reschedule, but you can't do it if you don't have a coaching staff.
Just is what
Right.
it is.
I mean,
Also, yeah. Also,
Boys
once
will
all this
lead the
gets
visits.
going, once all this gets going and all the coaches clean out their offices, usually they leave one or two coaches behind just to tie in, recruits.
Yeah, I haven't
Who do you
heard whom
think?
that's going to be yet.
I mean, look, they're all under contract, so they have. Unless they're terminated, they're under contract, and they have to at least go through the motions. But you're gonna have some transition fallout. Some kids are gonna decommit. That stuff's gonna happen. Again, I said this a few times earlier. You have to kind of take a long-term view here. You just can't. You can't get hung up on that. You made a decision that what you were doing wasn't working. You're moving on to a new staff, and there's going to be a little transition. There's going to be maybe even a small step back before you take a step forward. It's just part of it,
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not fussing over what they did. I agree. I was just wondering. I know usually they keep a coach or two back just to keep in touch with recruits. Don't show the new coaching staff where the light switch is. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they'll definitely do that. I mean,
Yeah.
there'll be somebody who's technically the guy in charge while this is playing out.
Derek Nix has been on the staff since the Revolutionary War, so I mean, who knows?
Right. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, I didn't really think about who that would be. Whatever, we'll hear that tomorrow. It doesn't matter.
Not even a little.
I mean, somebody get a little extra coin maybe for a day or two. That's about it. So, yeah, look, there's no way somebody's staying for the bowl game. They would, obviously they would allow something to go for championship game week this week, but that's as far as you're taking that. You wouldn't let it go any further than.
So do you think we're going to Memphis for the game Saturday?
I don't know.
Tigers and Bearcats.
Well, you've been wanting to go to that game. You just get to go to the second version of it instead.
A real good chance.
Because I think I've overtaken you in Neil's picks right now. So
I don't think so, my man.
Oh, really? Did you have a good week? I don't know what today's brought.
We both missed the Patriots game.
Okay. I got the 49ers.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
So I am 12-5.
Okay.
You are 11-6.
Okay.
So you're one game up on me.
Okay.
Jeffrey is 12-5, and Zach, I don't know what Zach is. He was 8-7 going into today.
Okay. Just curious. All right. Again, this is the podcast tomorrow. Really appreciate you guys tonight. This was fun. You hung in there with us. The chat was lively. So really, thank you for trusting us, for allowing us to entertain you. Go to the message board. We'll put updates there. We'll have some more of these throughout the week. I don't know exactly what our schedule is going to look like yet, but we'll let you know. We'll make sure it's on all the social media and whatnot. So it's 11:26. We're going to bid you adieu for the night. But again, thank you, and we will talk to you again maybe sometime tomorrow, if not on definitely Tuesday morning.